thank you for joining myself, Srini. I'm into Vedic Astrology and also work full-time in the fashion industry. And thanks everybody for joining. And today we are doing a session around manifesting free will versus fate, right? So something very important. And hopefully, I think some of the key takeaways is that you can start using some of those learnings from today's session. Yeah. And few things to as a disclaimer also, this session is being recorded, right? So if anybody is not comfortable being in the room, or not comfortable in asking a question, or not comfortable in staying even in this room, I would highly recommend that you can leave silently as well, right? In case if that's the decision you want to take, totally appreciate it, right? The whole idea for the recording is there are a lot of people who've been asking this, and sometimes there are so many topics available for the next session as well. I mean, Ashtakvarga is a topic. There are like so many topics I have in the list to do. So I think Bridget has asked earlier about I don't know if it was Bridget or Marjorie. One of you guys asked about I think it's Marjorie, if I'm not mistaken, on the D2, the Hora chart as well, right? The interpretation of the Hora chart. So we have a lot of things to do, right? So just to be cognizant, that's the reason we are recording, and so be aware of that. And I just wanted to make sure we have put the disclaimer as well in to show that it's being recorded. So please act accordingly. Yeah. And the other important thing, what I would also say is that in case if you want to speak, right, please feel free to raise your hand, and we'd be happy to move you into the speaker zone. But do understand that all the questions, all of it, I would really want to focus on today, manifesting free will versus fate, right, through Vedic astrology, right? Not about Western Vedic, number one. And also that we are not going to keep any to individual charts, etc., right? But I will be going over all the ascendants, right? The 12 ascendants. So anywhere your ascendant would also come into play in this case, right? Your ascendants or your rising sign for that matter. All right. So we'll go ahead with the session. Yeah. So few things to start with. So, and by the way, thanks for all the speakers as well as the moderators in the room, and I really appreciate that as well. Thank you. So I see Karthik has joined as well. Thana, hi, Karthik, Thana. Nice to see you as well, and MZ Victoria as well. So we are going to do about fate and free will, okay? So we'll explain about fate, free will, this whole concept, right? And I'll put some rules around this with as well, okay? The rules and exceptions, etc. So what is fate, right? Fate is destiny, okay? Something you're born with, right? So that's kind of fate, okay? So, for example, you and I are not born to a family of Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, right? That's kind of a fate, right? The way where we are born, how we are born, etc. is all the fate. So that's kind of your destiny, right? And what's free will, right? How do you implement free will? What's free will? Free will, so if I have to give a very simple example, okay, I love this example. So let's say this, we are about 6:40 Central Time, US, right? And today is Wednesday, June 9th. Let's say you have a flight about 11 o'clock in the night, another 4 or 5 hours from now, right? Approximately 4 hours or so. So you have to go to the airport, right? To take your flight, wherever you're going, okay? So that's your fate in this case. Right? Now your free will, okay? Now where comes your free will is how you go to the airport, when you go to the airport, right? So how you go to the airport means you can take an Uber, right? Or let's say you drive a car and you park it at the airport and take a flight, right? Or your friend or your family drops you, right? Or you take if you're a metro, for example, if you're living in New York City or something like that, right? So that's, I would say, it's a free will, okay? Now, when you leave to the airport, it's also free will, right? That's in your hand, right? You can plan it and you can do it where you are. Now, what is fate is you have to go to the airport, right? That's the fate, okay? So this is the simplest example of fate versus free will, okay? Is everybody clear, or should I give another example of fate versus free will?
I would actually like another example, if that's okay.
Sure. No, that's fine. No problem, okay? So, here is the thing, right? Let's say this. Couple of things. Maybe we'll give another example now. So, I'm just thinking of a good example because I don't want to give about food. Maybe I'll give food, okay? So, as friends, go ahead. Someone has a question?
Hi, Srini, Sangeeta, Kushita.
Hi, we'll come back to you. Can you put yourself on mute, please? All right, Srini, go ahead.
Thank you. So here is another example, right? Now, like friends, okay, plan to have a get together, right? So that's kind of agreed upon, right, for a birthday party, okay? So that's kind of, you can think of a fate. You planned it. Now, who you want to call, right? Who you want to call, when do you want to start, when do you want to end, okay? The date may be fixed, right? That's kind of fate. But what time you want to start, who do you want to call, right? What kind of food you want to have, what kind of drinks you want to have, when you want to end, that's free will, okay? So, you want to celebrate the birthday party, right? That's a very important birthday party, right? So, or even if you look at wedding, right? You kind of agree to get married, right? You fix the wedding, right? Now, again, what free will comes in is where you want to have the wedding, right? Where you want to have the wedding, when you want to have the wedding is fixed. That's fate. But the free will is where, when, how, and who is going to attend.
Got it. So, Srini, let's take an example. If two people are born in the same hospital at the same time on the same date in the same country, are they going to have the same charts? Well, their fate is obviously not going to be the same.
Great question. Okay, excellent, right? So far, I am yet to see two people born in the same time, in the same hospital. Okay, I'm yet to see it so far. That's the beauty part of it, right? It's always minutes apart, right? So I can tell you my case example, okay? The day, month, the year I was born, okay? I have somebody who's born 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes earlier than me, and then 36 minutes later than me, okay? Same city who I know. Day, month, year, everything the same. 20 minutes earlier, 36 minutes later, okay? So I know that, right? So, but the reality is that more than likely, I'm yet to see that, okay? It is also a very similar thing that what combination happens in astrology today in the zodiac up won't repeat again. Okay? That pattern won't repeat again. So what I'm saying is that the repetitions don't happen the way as you think, right? Now, what I can explain is, let's assume that somebody is born in a hospital, same day, same month, same year, okay? In the same hospital, few minutes here and there, somebody else is born. Multiple kids are born. Now, do understand that a few minutes, right? So I'll take an example of a twin. I have analyzed enough twins charts to explain this. So there are 16 divisional charts for a twin. Everybody, right? And if you look at 16 divisional charts, total 16 charts, if you look at that way. Now, if a twin, and I'm not sure if there is any doctor in the room, but if there is a twin, which is, let's say, I'm trying to recollect the math I did. Yeah, so somebody who was born around 6 minutes apart, okay, to a twin, both the twins, right? There was almost 8 charts same, 8 charts different, out of 16. Okay? 6 minutes. So that's kind of a number which I had, which I did it some time ago. So even for twins, things change. Okay? Does that help?
Yeah, it does. No, thank you.
Okay. So that's the thing, right? But so far, fate, free will. Everybody clear? Any questions?
I have a question. Hi, Srini. It's Tiara.
Hi, Tiara. How are you?
I'm good. Hope everything is well with you, and thank you for hosting this room today. So I raised my hand a little bit late, but I kind of wanted to backtrack to the first example that you gave. Say someone chose not to go to that destination or go to the airport. Is that, overriding fate in a sense?
So, right? So, great question, right? Somebody has chosen for some reason not to take the flight. That means that is also in your fate to happen. Okay? So, that is also a fate to happen. So, it's a fate within a fate. Okay? Does that make sense? That it's your personal override choice. Now, that is also a fate within the fate, which kind of shows that you're not going to travel. Simple.
Okay, so basically there's always some sort of domino effect when it comes to fate and how you get to a certain destination. Is that kind of where you're leading towards?
No. All I'm trying to say is for a lot of things we do around on a daily basis, there is a huge portion of it is fate, a small portion of it is free will.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
That's all I'm trying to say. Okay? So for example, I'll give another example. You feel you're hungry now. Let's say being in the East Coast at like 8 o'clock in the night, right? You're feeling hungry. So you order Chinese food, right? Delivery. Now you got the food, okay? So you process the fate, everything. Now a little later you just felt like I don't feel like eating anymore. So I'm not going to eat, right? And you didn't even touch your food, right? So that's your free will. Little later you're looking at, right? You're kind of doing that as a free will now, which you're taking it up again, right? Now the point, what I'm also trying to indirectly mention is the free will, what you are implementing is somewhere also an indirect way of fate. It's an indirect way of fate, but what happens is the free will, most of the free will is going to come or kick into the fact when you're doing a lot of good things. That's when you will understand about the free will more and more when I explain further. Okay? But the point which I want to come and say is that a lot of things is in your hand also, right? Even though most of the things are fate and destined. Now, what is also important is in the same hospital, right? You're born minutes apart. Let's say to another kid, right? If you look at these two people's charts, right? Planet's position will all change, right? Minutes is fine for divisional charts to change. Okay? That itself will show the strength of the entire thing. You have to understand the way, okay, how the divisional strength or the divisional chart strength impacts. Imagine in college here, right? You have individual courses, right? So you have the GPA for an individual course, and then you have the total GPA, right? So anybody who has studied in the US, would understand this well about this process, right? The individual GPA, the CGPA, and the total GPA. Now what happens is, the same way, your individual chart has its strength, and then the planets in individual chart, and then the total, the 16 charts you look at. Now again, each chart has a weightage. Just the same way your professor would tell you that your first two exams has this kind of weightage, and your last exam have this level of weightage. The weightage changes accordingly as well, right? So to understand that as well in this process, the weightage as well. So it's important to note that even though two kids would have been born in the hospital minutes apart, right? Minutes apart, what you would also see in the process, right, is that they are born to different families. They are born to different people. So definitely you would see changes along in this process as well. Okay? So that's the point. Now let's start breaking it down. Okay? So fate, free will. Any questions? Anything unclear on this so far?
Yeah, I have a question. Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you told about marriage, right? So choosing when, what, and what place, like you were saying about free will, right? So marriage is about your fate. And choosing a partner, where, which location and all, it's free will.
No. So let me clarify again. So somebody getting married or not has to be destined, right? If there is no marriage in the chart, you cannot implement that through free will. Please understand that, okay? If there is no marriage in the chart. Let's say your chart promises marriage, okay? Now, let's say that there are steps. Let's say initially your chart doesn't promise marriage, okay? But if you do a free will, then that thing opens up. Just the same way in office, right? Just the same way in office is they say that you are not eligible for this position because you don't have an MBA, for example. You do your MBA and you show those skill set, then you're able to go to that position, okay? Same way, if your chart does not promise marriage originally, right? And if your chart shows that through free will, through certain good karma, what free will is kind of good karma here. Through that free will, if you do it after a certain time, it's going to open up for you. Okay? Now, another case, if a chart shows marriage, you'll get married. If a chart doesn't show marriage, and it says that no matter you do free will, you're not going to get it, you're not going to get it. Simple. Okay? Now, do understand, not only the marriage is, I would say, is fixed or fate. Same thing your partner. It's already written. It's fate again. Okay? So it's already fate again. Now, where can you implement your free will is the date, the time, when you want to start, when you want to close, all those things. Now, you can call it as free will, but it's kind of an indirect way of fate. But it's still a free will. Who do you want to call for the wedding, right? Now, you feel that you don't want to call your boss. It's your call, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. But your marriage, your partner, that's kind of a fate thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it, yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Like for the first example, you said that with the going to the airport, that's the fate. But how we go is kind of a free will. But isn't it somehow like, for example, if we take an Uber, so that's also kind of like indirect fate because
correct.
That's what
It is. But I'm saying free will is also you choose in the last minute and you plan something and you can play with it, right? But it's still an indirect fate. Correct. It is an indirect fate, but it's what I'm saying is you would have planned to take an Uber. Okay, last minute your friend would have called, hey, I'm coming, I'm going to pick you up, I'll drop you. So you cancel the Uber now, right? So you're playing with it last minute. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's end of the day an indirect fate, but which is in your hand. You can decide what you want to do. What I'm saying is what is more fixed here is that you have to take the flight. That's a fixed one. What is movable is how do you go, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, I get it. And the other thing you were telling about, like, I think it was Sangeeta who asked about two people being born at the same time, same place, and same hospital. Would their charts be same? But would it not also depend on kind of, say, like previous karma thing? Because somehow that depends on how things are going to be. For example, in case of Rahu, like we always say, that, I mean, for Rahu and Ketu, like, it's always about what happens in the previous life that kind of impacts this. So would it not affect two people even if their time, place, or say the date is same for two charts?
So,
or even if it's
I'm coming there. You're kind of talking about that way, but I am coming there. But all I'm trying to say is to Sangeeta's question earlier, which I thought I explained is there is more than likely two people will be born in the same time, in the hospital, the same hospital, same day, same month, same year, same time as I'm just giving an example. It's now 6:58 in my phone, right? 6:58 p.m. And this, I don't think so. It doesn't happen that way. Even minute, all I'm saying is a minute here and there changes everything. Okay?
Okay, I get your point. Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
No problem. Right? Or even to make things even more different is twins born to the same parent here in the hospital, same parent. Even that is different. I mean, I know we all agree that we are exposed to a lot of twins where you would see that their personalities, their ability to study, their ability to grow up, and when they get married, when they, how they are, what they study, everything is different. Right? We all agree on that. Unless if somebody disagrees, please speak out. Okay. Any disagreement here? I heard somebody, I think. Okay. So fate, free will we discussed now. Here are some important things I'm going to cover. But since I'm going to cover some important things, if anybody wants to write it down, I know this session is recorded. We will, thanks to Kushita again, and we'll ensure to share it. We'll figure out how to share it on Twitter and stuff, right? But if you want to write it down, as you want to ask questions and think through for your ascendant, your rising sign, right? I will go very slow. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Okay. So we have 12 houses, right? So I'll start from the 12 houses just to give people to understand it, right? So Aries, so natural zodiac, Aries, first house. So Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. We have 12 houses here, right? The 12 houses. Now, apart from these 12 houses, you also have to know who owns what. So I'll just give a quick thing, right? Mars owns Aries and Scorpio. Mars is a male planet. Aries is a male house, masculine house. Scorpio is a feminine house. Venus is a feminine planet. Venus owns 2 houses, Taurus and Libra. Taurus is a feminine house like Venus. Libra is a masculine house. Mercury is an Inuch planet. Mercury owns 2 houses, Gemini and Virgo. Gemini is masculine, Virgo is feminine. Moon owns 1 house, Moon is feminine. Moon owns Cancer. Sun owns 1 house, Sun is masculine, and Sun and Leo is also masculine. Now comes Jupiter. Jupiter is masculine. Jupiter owns 2 houses, Sagittarius, Pisces. Sagittarius is masculine. Pisces is feminine. Okay? And Saturn owns 2 houses. Saturn is Inuch, and Capricorn is feminine. Aquarius is masculine. So I have gone to the 12 houses. I have discussed about the planet sex and the planet ownership and the 7 planets. Rahu and Ketu typically does not own a house. That is kind of a joint ownership or stake. You can think of that way. Ketu for Scorpio and Rahu for Aquarius, right? So that's kind of how it is. Now, here is the most important thing, which I think you want to write it down. And of course, this session is recorded, so you can always listen. But to follow now, you want to write it down. So, first house, right? Now, forget Aries as the first house and Taurus as second house, etc. But this rule, these things, what I'm going to tell you right now, when you apply to a chart, you want to understand that, right? If somebody is Aries ascendant, somebody is a Virgo ascendant, that means Virgo ascendant, my first house is this. So you will know what it is, right? So you want to understand what is first house important matters are, okay? Because now I'm going to teach you how to do the free will, right? So you want to know this important thing. So first house, okay? So this will apply to your chart, right? First house. So the first house significance is your nature, right? Your personality, okay? And you are alive, right? So that's your first house. You are alive, So that means you are breathing, right? You're alive. That's your first house. Your health and vitality, right? I said personality earlier. Your appearance and looks, right? That's your first house. Okay? Second house. Second house is your wealth, your status, your family, your speech, and you can think of your higher education, your basic education. Yeah, that's the second house. Okay, right. Now third house: initiatives, effort, courage, leadership, communication, understanding. Okay? Now, the fourth house, your assets. So assets, what you can do is you can break it down as movable and immovable. So like, for example, movable is like vehicles, car, bike, etc. Immovable is land, house, property, etc. Okay?
Srini, real quick, what is the difference then between the wealth that you described in the second house versus the assets in the fourth house?
Great, right? Good question. So, wealth is nothing but here money. Okay? Money, right? So that's your wealth. Okay? Now here, that money is now, so look at it this way. What did I tell you earlier? I think, Sangeeta, you asked the question, right? Third house is effort, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you go keep your hand on the second house, move 3 houses, where do you land?
The fifth?
No. You have to count the second also as one house.
Oh, sorry,
so
the
where
fourth.
do you land?
The
That's
fourth.
okay. That's okay. So what are you doing now? You are putting an effort on the second house by taking the money which you have and converting it into buying a car, buying a house, or buying a land.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You're putting an effort, right? So you're converting it now through an effort. So that's what it is. Okay? So then, good question. The difference is here you're converting the money into assets here. Okay? See, the wealth, do understand, one of the important thing is, what did I mention earlier in the second house? I mentioned it's family also, right? So the wealth of the family is also associated over there, right? When a girl and a guy marries, right? And they become husband and wife, everything, the family wealth, everything, the combined wealth, all those things, that's the second thing it's coming. Okay? All right. Good question though. So, sorry, I'll have to, fourth house. I would, okay, where did I start? Okay, fourth house, right? So I said fourth house is about assets, and then I broke it down, movable and immovable. So movable is your car, bike, whatever, scooter, whatever it is you can think of. And then immovable is land. Immovable is also house, right? Cabin, right? Now, if you have a boat, etc., that is all movable again. Okay, so you can think it that way. The important thing is fourth house is also mental peace. Okay, if you are happy in your life, that's a fourth house. Very important. Okay, mental peace. Then materialistic. I would say the right word would be materialistic gains is the fourth house also. Okay, materialistic gains here, which means through the material, all these gains is materialistic gains. And mental peace, I said, marital happiness is also fourth house. Okay, happiness through marriage. And your basic school education is your fourth house. Okay? Now, the fifth house. The fifth house is intelligence.
So Srini, one quick question there before we go to the fifth house. So the fourth house signification, should we also mention mother?
You can, right? I mean, there are several significations I can add, but absolutely good point. We have to mention mother. So good point. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
So third house, so if I want to add, right, third house, you can also add younger siblings. Okay? So I didn't put it for a reason, but we can add now. Fourth house, you add mother. the third house, I want you to add younger siblings, not elder, younger. Okay? All right. Good call out. Thank you. Fifth house. Maybe once I stop in every house, I'll wait for a minute or so, because it gets a challenge for me to go back again, because I have to break my head with it again. Okay? The flow for me gets disturbed. I don't have a script or anything for me to do that. So the fifth house, intelligence, right? Then fifth house is emotions. Okay? Fifth house is speculation. Fifth house is creativity. Fifth house is higher education. And fifth house is also your past birth karma. Fifth house is also children. And I'll put children, especially your first child, yeah? So that's fifth house. Any question?
No, I think we're good. We can move on to the sixth.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. The sixth house, right? So sixth house in Sanskrit, it may not be good, but Runa Roga Shatru, right? Debt, disease, sickness, disputes. Okay? Like disputes as even, like for example, cases and all those things. Okay? So that's the sixth one. Okay? And sixth house is also connected to job. Okay? Sixth house is also connected to job. Right? In terms of your job status or the job you do, also sixth house. Okay? Any questions on the sixth house?
Yes, a quick clarification. So, sixth house is your day-to-day functionings of the job, right? The 10th house is really your career.
Correct. You can look at that way. Sixth house shows the health. How should I say, the health value of the job, the way you enjoy it, and all those things. You know.
Yeah,
the
then also
healthy state of the job.
And then your daily routines are also part of the sixth house, right?
Correct. Your healthy and activities, basically. Good call out.
So when you say health, Srini, is that a satisfaction from the job? Is that?
It's kind of, yes. It's kind of how you are doing, performance, satisfaction, all those things comes into play.
Okay.
Do you know why I'm saying sixth house is for a job?
Actually, that was also one of the things that was, because debt, disease, disputes is on one hand, and on the other hand we're saying job. So how do those things?
Okay, so I'll explain in a minute about job also. Remember this. Suppose in a work environment, what happens in a work environment when you're heavily stressed out? You get into disease. Example, right? All those things comes through your work also. The debt, disease, disputes, everything come.
So basically the burnout.
You can call it the burnout, but I will come in a minute later why I'm telling you job here. Okay, as a profession. I'll finish the next house and I'll come here later. Okay? Any questions? I
think you're good. Yeah, seventh, Yella.
Okay. Seventh is partners. So partner I can break it down into two ways. Partner is, you can think of your marriage partner, living partner, like spouse, living partner, and then your business partner. Like looking at your business partner, right? When you want to run a business and stuff, your business partner comes into play as well in this process. So that's pretty much a lot of things around partnership here, right? That's an important thing. Next is pleasures, right? So all the enjoyment you're looking at through the seventh house here, your pleasures. Then your seventh house is marriage. Seventh house is also, you can think of foreign travel. Seventh house, foreign travel. Okay? Seventh house.
I have a question about the seventh house. With pleasures, would you add desires?
You can add, right? You can, absolutely. So you can add desires and obsessions and all those things. Okay?
And I have a question about foreign travels. Now, how is this different from the 12th house?
Okay, I will come when we come to the 12th house. Just remind me if I don't answer your question.
Okay, will do.
Okay? Speaking of 7th house foreign travel, I do want to add another point. 3rd house, where you wrote the 3rd house, please go and write down short travel, short distance travel in the 3rd house. Okay? All right. So in case if I forget, remind me. I'll come about 12 when you come to 12.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Karthik, you had a question?
Yes. So Srini, should we also add any contracts to the 7th house as a...
Yes. Any partnerships, right? Partnerships, contracts, partnerships. That's what I said, partnerships. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, 8th.
Okay. 8th house. Longevity of your marriage. Okay? So again, I'll have to probably say this also maybe another way because when I said marriage, I have to say something else. So in the 7th house, you always, when I said about marriage partner, it's your first marriage, your first partner, everything. It's the first one. Okay? Same thing in the 5th house when you look at children, it's your first child. You don't look at for your second child in the 5th house. So do understand those rules also. That's where astrology gets a little complicated. So your first partner, your first marriage. So suppose if anybody's got divorced, right? If you're looking at the second marriage, you have to go to the 11th house, 11th lord. You don't look at the first anymore. Done. Right? That's how you do. Okay? So in this case, again, 8th house is longevity of the marriage. So the longevity of the first marriage. That's what you would look at. Okay? Yeah.
Sorry, real quickly, before you move on to the 8th house, right? So, I mean, in the modern generation, you can have, a few partners which may not materialize into marriage, and then you could get married. So how would that work?
So great, right? So if you apply modern day theory today, right? The minute a physical or a sexual intimacy comes in, that's a partnership. Okay? Because what starts with meeting, relationship, dating, eventually goes to that level. So that is considered as a partner. Okay? Now you may live together, you may not live together, it's a different case. But it's considered still a partner. That's the way you would break it down.
Okay, so then when you talk about first partner and then first marriage, you can have, maybe you had 2 partners and then the third was the marriage, right? So how, at that point, it would be your third partnership. Your first marriage would be your third partnership.
So the way you look at the 7th house, do understand that these books were written 10,000 years ago, whatever, when a lot of things what we're doing today was not either allowed, acceptable, or not known at the time, right? So having said that, the way I am breaking it down is just because you are in a relationship, right, doesn't mean that the 7th house is completely activated. It's a relationship where you're either engaged or you go into that physical intimacy, right? That's when your 7th house is activated. So that's when I would say it as the first one, partner. Okay? Now your first partner is done. Then what happens is your first marriage, right? You still probably would look at the 7th house. Marriage and partner, I can break it down. The minute you go to the second partner, you go to the 11th. Mm-hmm. Okay? The second marriage, you still go to the 11th. That's what I would do. Okay? Any questions?
Srini, I had a question. This is Ikra.
Yeah. Hi, Ikra.
So I've heard that you can look at kind of like your dating relationships or people like boyfriends, girlfriends, or not marriage partners as 5th house, and then like a marriage partnership would be 7th house.
So fifth house is about love and romance, right? Fifth house is just love or relationship. That's fifth house, correct? It's love, right? So that's fifth house, absolutely correct, right? But, so maybe we should actually, I missed to add that good point. I missed to add love and romance, you should add in the fifth house. But what I was trying to say here earlier was, again I'm saying, so love and romance you added to the fifth house, correct? What I'm saying is, doesn't matter how many love and romance you have, you look at fifth house, right? But the minute it comes into a physical intimacy, your seventh house is activated. That's all I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense for me. I was hoping that also helped answer Sangeeta's question.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. So let's move on to the 8th.
Okay. The 8th one, right? The 8th one is longevity of the marriage. So here is the important thing, right? The longevity. You can look at your 7th house marriage or your partnership. You can apply both. The longevity, that's the 8th. From the 7th, the next house, that's the longevity. 8th house indicates also your longevity. How long you're going to live, right? One can say it as death or how long you're living. That's longevity, okay? Then 8th house is also inheritance. I think somebody needs to mute. I don't know who is it. Thank you. So 8th house is also inheritance, right? It can be your family inheritance and all those things, right? That's 8th house, or from your spouse also, right? Those kind of inheritance. And 8th house is also blocks, obstructions, okay? I'm trying to think anything else for 8th house. No, okay. Yeah.
All the occult sciences?
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Occult sciences. One more important thing for 8th house is foreign living. Okay.
And what about sudden ups and downs as well? Is that...
Yeah, yes, you can add. You can, absolutely. So sudden gains, right? And losses also. Okay.
I had a question. This is Lynette.
Hi, Lynette.
And I don't know if this is pertaining, what if the house is, if you have no planets in the house, does that mean that it's not something that gets activated?
Great, because you have the 8th house, the 8th lord. 8th house, 8th lord will also signify in your chart, right? And when I explain that, I will explain Lynette. And anyhow, you only have 9 planets and 12 houses. That will be always at least 3 houses empty. Okay? So you don't need to have planets, or certain aspects coming into play, right? Aspects, special aspects, right? All those things coming into play. So for example, Aries ascendant, 2nd house is Taurus. Let's say Venus is sitting in the 2nd house. Well, that Venus would aspect the 8th house straight away. Okay, that's one example. Another example, Aries ascendant, Jupiter sitting in the 4th house in Cancer, in Zoltan. Now that Jupiter from Cancer would aspect the 5th house from the 8th house. Okay? You see the point?
Yeah, I see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Srini, I've heard that the 8th house also has some indications of past life karma because it's a Gandharvava, so like the longevity of your life right now, or the karma that you can that you're gonna fruition in this life, or I think. So is that correct, or is that just a rumor that I heard?
I'm not 100% sure on that, right? I'm not 100% sure on that, but hold on to your thought. Let me finish this round, and if you don't think I have answered your question, come back to me later.
Okay, so moving on to the 9th house.
The 9th house is long distance travel, father, spirituality, religion, fortune, higher education also. We're talking higher education means like somebody double masters, a PhD, all those things, right? And ninth house. I said father also, right? Father. What else I can think of?
Could this also be the environment in which you will grow up as a child?
Not really, because you can, right? If you want to say father's influence is coming here, right? Indirectly, right? To your point, you can say because your father's influence is coming through the ninth house. End of the day, right? You can look at it that way, right? The fourth house is also, but you cannot just use the ninth house as a rule here, because the environment is typically your fourth house, which is your mother thing is also there. Your second is there, right? That's your family, right? The second house. And the ninth house and the Mahadasa also comes into play.
Okay.
Yeah, hi.
Is spirituality ninth house too?
So spirituality, okay, here is the difference, right? So the fine lines difference between 8th house and 9th house is there is the 9th house as the religion plus spirituality, versus the 8th house is more of a loss of religion or moving away from religion to a complete spiritual level. So that's how you would break it down. Yeah?
Okay.
So in the 9th house, you have a combination of both religion and spirituality, but 8th house is more of spiritual. Okay? Did I answer your question?
No, you did. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll go to the 10th house, yeah? Okay.
Does higher education repeat in 2nd, 5th, as well as 9th house?
No, the second house is your, you can call it as your general education, okay? So your fourth house is school education, your basic school, right? Till your 10th also, 10th grade or something like that. Your 11th, 12th, right? And your basic degree, you can think of, is till college, right? You can think of your second house, okay? And your 5th house comes your little bit over bachelor's, your master's or something. And, okay, master's. Now, your 9th house is, you don't finish master's, let's say. You finish again another master, you finish a PhD. So that means your 9th house comes into play. Okay? Do you know why I'm saying that? Because if you apply Bhavat Bhavam, your 5th to 5th is the 9th house. Okay? Yeah? Is that clear? You're welcome. So Sangeeta, there was one thing pending for you, right? I said for 7th house it was travel, right? Like more like foreign travel, etc. And 8th house is foreign settlement. Okay? Correct?
Right, but we'll get to the 12th foreign.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I'll also explain here. In the meantime, I'll explain here also one more thing.
Okay.
If 8th house, so first house is where you are born. First house, ascendant, where you are born is you. That's your place, the place of birth. The 8th house is the loss of your first house. 8th house is the loss of the first house. Where you are born. That means it's foreign. Okay? Okay? Now, your 9th house is, what did I say your 9th house is? So,
long distance travel.
Long distance travel. Your 7th house is foreign travel also. Okay? Your loss of your foreign settlement is loss of 8th house is 7th house. 12th of the 8th house is 7th house. So if your foreign settlement is lost, you do travel again to come back. That's the thing. You see? Okay? And we'll finish the 12th to understand this equation again.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm not clear, so let's carry on and then we'll come back to it.
Okay. 9th house finished. 10th house. 10th house is about job. Yeah.
Hi, please mute yourself if you're talking.
Yeah. Can I ask where the mantras will go, like in fifth house, in houses, ninth house, mantras, Vedic mantras.
So Vedic mantras, right? Several houses are being activated, okay, in Vedic mantras. So second house by saying it, okay? Second house when you say it. Fifth house, the mantras are supposed to come from the stomach, your fifth house, right? And somewhere the mantras, meaning and everything, if you get into it, your eighth house is involved. There are several combinations involved in the mantras. And because it's associated with religion or something like that, ninth house is also involved.
Okay.
Okay? All right. 10th house. 10th house, your job, your profession, okay? Your karma, right? Your general karma. That's why it's called karma. So 9th house is called dharma. I forgot you want to also write that down. 9th house is dharma, okay? Dharma, to people who don't know what is dharma, is your duty, okay? 10th house is your karma, right? So I think Rafe, you asked a question earlier. A lot of the karma is over here, okay? That's why if you see that it's called the karma, dharma karma pati yoga, means the 10th house. The karma is the 10th house, okay? Then what else I can think of? Profession, character, karma, and job, etc. Okay, so that's the 10th house. Okay.
What about the authority of the father? Not the father himself, but his kind of impact or role. Does that come into the 10th house?
It's not really the authority. If you want to look at the authority, right? So when you say authority, which means the right word is the courage and everything. It will be from the 9th house, the 3rd house, which will be the 11th house. You see?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. 9th, so from the 9th, you add 9, 10, 11, 3rd house, because 3rd house is about courage. Okay? Remember, if you see, what did I say? 3rd house was courage initially. So from the 9th, the father's courage is seen from the 9th to the 3rd. So 9, 10, 11, you go there. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
So just a question. So I have Jupiter in the 10th house.
See, we're not going to individual charts, please. Yeah, please, for some time. Okay, we're
sure.
just explaining the general rules because we have to go to the ascendants, everything. It'll take a lot of time. If we go to individual charts, we just go all over the place. Please, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Could we?
Can I ask?
Hi, go ahead.
Sorry, one at a time, Karthik.
Yes. So Srini, could we think of 10th house significations as relationship with your subordinates at work?
So we don't use the word subordinate when you say
or
when you
colleagues.
say your colleagues, right? Yeah, colleagues, right? Colleagues. Okay,
or
so
even a relationship with you. If you were to be in an authoritative position, relationship of that authoritative figure with the masses.
Okay, so you're bringing a lot of things here. So so hold on. So we are bringing masses. You're bringing all those things now. So it's, you don't look at that way. So the 10th house. The 10th house is how you put yourself in the job. Basically, that's your 10th house, right? So the way I would look at is your character comes into play from a job perspective. So the 10th house is your professional ability, your professional character, everything comes into play. So your relationship with the people with the office people is seen through the 10th house. Does that make sense?
Okay, so through the professional ability, you have to see that. Okay.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
And also, is it good, sometimes when we check the match, right, we used to say 7, 8, 9 houses shouldn't have any planet. So what's the logic behind that?
Should we check what?
So 7th, 8th, and 9th houses, right?
Okay.
Shouldn't have planets. So you will say like Shuddha Jatagam, right?
Not really.
Okay.
Let me explain. In the 9th house, you want to have benefics. You want to have benefic like Jupiter, benefic like Mercury, benefic like Venus or a full moon. Okay, Mercury is independent, etc. You want to have benefics in the 9th house. 8th house, you want to be empty. If at all if planets are there in the 8th house, you want to have benefic planets again these planets. So when benefic planets like this are in the 8th house, go check your chart, right? Mm-hmm. These people will be living away from the foreign country, from the country of birth, the city of birth. They'll be in a foreign country, 8th and 12th, both, 8th and 12th, provided there is no benefic planets there.
Okay, so there should be benefic planets, right, in all these houses, if there are any, right?
So see, correct. So in olden days, traveling, living abroad was a curse. So probably they say that 8th house should be empty, etc. Today, moving away from a country like, I don't know, India or wherever you can think of, is one way of blessing. So people all want foreign travel, right? So foreign settlement also, right? Foreign settlement indicates the 8th and the 12th house.
Okay.
So having benefics in the 8th and 12th increases longevity through the 8th house and foreign settlement. And depending on ascendance thing, will also give you inheritance. Family inheritance.
Okay, and the benefic planets are Venus, Jupiter?
The benefic planets are in the sequence Jupiter, followed by Venus, independent Mercury, and a full moon.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Srini,
Yes.
Srini, are aspects just as important for, planet aspects the house? Is it as
It is important. It is important. It is very important. So planets can do similar damage by just not sitting in the house, but aspecting that house also. So a planet in the 2nd house, a malefic in the 2nd house, not only has issues with, I would say, gives issues with family and all those things, but also as a challenge of longevity, foreign settlement, etc., because it aspects the 8th house.
Hey, Srini, not to interrupt, but can we just get through the houses first before we go into all that stuff?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
My question to the topic. My question is related to the houses. My question is related to the houses.
1 hour. Oh, hey guys.
It is almost 1 hour. And our topic for today is fate and freewill, and we haven't even started that.
Okay, so let's go on to the 11th house.
Okay, 11th house.
Can I my last question regarding the houses, ma'am? My question is father will be looked from the 9th house or 10th house? Because the few astrologers they also say that fathers look from 10th house. So can you say something about that?
So father, I look at from the 9th house. Parashara Horashastra clearly says it's 9th house. The longevity of the father is looked from the 10th house, right? But your father, I would look from the 9th house. And if you want to know the logic of why I have to look father from the 9th house, I can give you the logic also. Now, number 1, it's Parashara book. That's the logic. Number 2 logic is, if you are the ascendant, right, you're born, your first child, where are you going to look at? 5th house, right?
Yes.
Correct? Do you agree with me? Now, your first child is 5th house. Now, let's say you get a child by name X. Now, keep that, the 5th house as the ascendant. Now, to go to the father, you have to move 9 places to come to the ascendant, which is you. So that's the 9th house.
Yes.
Okay? This is the logic.
Got it.
Okay? We go to the 11th house, yeah?
11th, yeah.
Yeah. The 11th house is gains. Gains through the job. From the 10th house. Remember the 2nd house I said is wealth? But here the 11th house is the gains coming from the 10th house. So 10th house plus 2 is the 11th house. Gains, income from the job. Again, friends, second marriage, second partner, all those things comes in the 11th house. Okay? The 12th house. The 12th house is foreign settlement. Okay? Foreign settlement, charity work, hospitalization, jail, imprisonment, jail, expenses, losses. Okay? So, if first house, if you look at it this way, first house is the place where you are born. The loss of the first house is the 12th house. Foreign settlement again. Sangeeta, I think you asked the question. So, if you're born in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, right, that's your first house. That's where you're born. The loss of the first house is 12th house. That's foreign settlement. The 8th and the 12th are the losses houses here. So anything for the first house, the 8th and the 12th, that's why the 8th and 12th are foreign settlement. Okay?
Okay.
Clear? Everybody clear? So now we're going to go to the most important thing. So before I go into the details, I'm going to put a probing question. And I'm going to wait for 1 minute to get answers to people, because to understand if you're thought through it. Of all these houses, the most important house is your ascendant. Okay? The most important house is ascendant. Why? Because if you're alive, I said, remember, you are alive, you are breathing. Okay? Is your ascendant. Okay? The most important house. Okay? So if somebody is dead, that means their ascendant is gone. Okay? Now the first house, right? So I gave first 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 12. Okay? Now you have to understand the basics. The first house, the 5th house, and the 9th house. These are called the trines. Okay? The 3 pillars. Okay? The 3 pillars. And they will always support you through your life. Okay? The trinal energy, you call it. The first house, so the 4th house, the 7th house, and the 10th house is a quadrant. Okay? These are also, you can call it as pillars, but they are quadrant pillars, the 4 corners of the wall. They will get better over time. Okay? As you put effort, you will get result. Okay? Then the 2nd house, the 11th house is gains, right? And the 1st house is also a quadrant and a trine. The 6th, the 3, 6, 8, 12, you can call it as hidden houses. 12th is somewhat neutral. 3rd is okay. The 8th and 12th are the malefic houses. So I covered all the 12. Now I mentioned that the first house is the most important house. Now, when you want to activate Freewill, I'll just ask a question. I'm just going to wait for a minute or 2 minutes maximum, because I want to understand your thought process of all this information to answer this question. For activating Freewill, I just want to know, which house do you think is the most important house? Anybody can just say answer and say why, and then unmute yourself.
The 3rd house.
I need which house and why?
The 3rd house, because it's your own individual effort.
Okay. Next.
Is it one of the quadrant pillars because they get better over time and your effort?
But there is only one house you have to name, right? You can't go to the quadrant pillars again.
So my intuition is saying the 12th house, because that's the house of transformation and rebirth.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say the ascendant, which is your first house, because that's you.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 9th house, Srini, because the 9th house is the house of 9th house.
Okay.
Because it's a trine, it's the house of luck, and normally the karma that you should do is to get a better placement of the 9th house lord, but then it goes into a future life, not the current life.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Can I go next?
Go ahead.
I'm thinking the 8th house. So in the order, I would think the first house, and then immediately the 8th house.
No, only one. I made very clear. One
Right.
house and why.
Okay, fine. Then I'll pick 8. The reason is because the topic of free will and where it's available for a human being to access that, right? That's a very obscure thing to a human being. Though it's available right in front of you, it's so difficult to see it. I feel that's my big thing.
Okay. Anybody else?
Srini, I said the third house. I just wanted to add why I could feel that way, because the third house is 8 and 8, so it's the house that breaks the karma, I feel. I'm just looking for my intuition. So.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you.
So I would say it is 9th house, because it is a dharma house where you do dharma to overcome your karma.
Okay, great. Okay, anybody else?
I just want to say, it's Tiara. I think it's the first house, because I believe in order to take a certain amount, or I would say in order to make a certain choice, you need a certain level of self-awareness to maybe change certain aspects of your personality. And I feel like our choices end up causing the effect of majority of our life, if that makes sense.
Okay, great.
Srini, can I just add one more thing?
Go ahead.
I kind of feel the question might be a little incomplete, because we're talking about houses, but then the houses also change lordships depending on the zodiac sign. So, I mean,
Doesn't matter. In each of the zodiac sign, each of the ascendant, which is that house, is the question for free will.
I'm still going to stick with the 9th house, the house of luck and dharma.
Okay.
Hi, Srini, can I add?
Go ahead.
So I'm going to add really quick. I'm going to say the 6th house.
Okay.
For daily routines.
Okay.
Srini, I think it's first house and 8th house.
I made it very clear, right? One house and why. Simple. Don't give me like 3 houses, 2 houses. It's not going to happen.
First house then. Yeah, first house. Because...
Okay.
So first house is basically like ourself itself, right? And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I think Tana was next. Hold on, Tana.
Okay, I just want to add. For me, it's the same answer like 3 people. First house, because first house is getting support from 5th and 9th.
Yeah.
And
okay.
First also getting support from the 4th, 7th, 10th, which gets better as time goes by.
Okay. Great. Okay.
Gunjan?
So,
hold on, Gunjan.
Yeah, I think it would be probably the 9, because it's a house of luck, and if we see free fate, it's somehow kind of like indirect fate, not always, but kind of.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And someone was speaking next.
Sir, I think it is third house, because it is opposite of 9th house. 9th house is your luck, and third, which is opposite of 9th, it is your it may be your free will.
Okay. Tana, thank you. Tana, say your answer again, Tana, please. Jay, I'll come to in a minute, yeah?
For me, I said first house, because 5th and 9th always follows what first house wants to do. And also 4th, 7th, 10th, the Kendra houses gets better with time, and also they support the first house. That's why.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Jaya, your turn, right? Go ahead.
Oh, so I was just agreeing with the person who said the 3rd and 9th house, because they aspect each other. But I also, sometimes, if I had to answer independently, I would have said whichever house your moon is in, because that, like, your mind's going to affect whatever.
True. No, that's true. So that's a good point about the moon and everything. But more than that, you have the house lot. Okay, fair enough. Anybody else wants to add? Can we all move on? I think last person to add. Anybody?
I'll go last. Bring it full circle, because Bridget went first, and I had the same instinct and answer her third house with the same explanation.
Okay, thank you. So, which is the houses so far? I'll ask a question to some people now. Which is the houses so far we have ignored in the list? We got a lot of houses, right? We got 12, we got 1st, we got 9th, we got 3rd, we got 6th.
7th house we ignored.
Okay,
Four.
7.
Second house.
Second. Yep.
Fourth.
7, second, 4th.
And fifth.
5th.
I don't believe anybody said
11. 11.
Eight.
11.
11.
8 somebody said. 8 somebody said. So 5th is 5th. Okay. Then 5 houses so far, right? So that the answer is in the 5 houses here, which is the 5th house. Okay. So I'll explain now. And thank you for answering, everybody. I think that's a good point. But 5th house is the most important house. Do go read the 5th house significations. Sangeeta, you're mute on, right? So why don't you read the 5th house significations?
Sure, yeah. So I was taking notes. So intelligence, emotions, speculation, creativity, higher education, past birth karma, your first child, and the significances of love and romance.
Great. So, first, thank you. The first reason you are born is your unfinished karma. Because that all comes into the 5th house from your past birth. Okay? Number 1. Your unfinished karma. The reason you are born is because of unfinished karma. And all your past birth karma gets deposited into your 5th house and 5th lord. Okay? Now, do understand, there were a lot of great answers. But the answer somewhere I would always thought would have come between the 1st house, the 5th house, and the 9th house. These are Lakshmi Sthanas. These are the trines. And the 5th is the trine. Now, do understand, the 5th, okay? The 5th is a trine. 5th is the past birth karma, right? Now, imagine some of the important things in the 5th house. Love, romance is coming there, which means it helps you to take into a marriage. Then once you get married, it makes you to give you children. All that is coming in the 5th house. Okay? To expand your generation, your 5th house is again needed. It's not 9th house here. It's not your 1st house. It's your 5th house. Okay? To expand your generation. So what happens? You remain single all your life and you die. Your generation is not there anymore, which means your 5th house is gone. Right? So even from past birth karma, 5th house is the most important thing. So it is like this. It is like you have a CD or a fixed deposit, right? And when you're starting your job, you're getting the fixed deposit interest along with it, right? Or it is also a CD, or it is other way as a student loan. When you're finished your college, when you're starting your first job, you have to start paying it out. That's your bad karma. You can put it that way. So the 5th house, 5th lord, is the one which is going to signify if somebody is born to a Bill Gates house or born to a normal person or to Amitabh Bachchan's house. Okay? That's the first thing. The 5th house, 5th lord. Okay? Now, that is the house which is actually going to unlock your free will here. Okay? Now, let me finish one more point. You can ask your questions. Remember this. What did I mention? I mentioned that your ascendant is your life. Important. After your ascendant is a kona and a trikona, quadrant and a trine. Your 5th house and your 9th house are trines. So if you connect 1st house, 5th house, 9th house, right? The 5th house is the bridge which connects the 1st and the 9th. So what is the 9th house? 9th house is luck. Where did you get the luck? The 5th to the 5th. The 5th house has the deposit which matures and gives it through the 9th house. Just the same way, if I have to explain the 1st, 5th and the 9th, very important. Of all the 12 houses, I don't care. These 3 houses, 1st, 5th and 9th, very important. 1st lord, 5th lord, 9th lord. Okay? Now, let's say this. You have electricity in the grid outside. Okay? You have electricity, you have the grid box in your house. To get the power, right? So you can think the other side as you can think is the 9th house outside. In the grid in your house is the 1st house. The power connection which happens between the two is the 5th house. It connects the both. Just the same way 1, 5, 9. 5th in the middle connects the 1st and the 9th. It closes the loop. Okay? So whatever you have to do is the thing. Now I'll give you other examples. Go study charts. Understand. People who have ascendant, right, or ascendant lord not that great, okay, but the fifth lord is so strong, okay, what happens is, so what is ascendant? Ascendant is you. Even without you putting an effort, somebody will come and help you. Out of the blue. Go and check. Out of the blue, it will come from somebody's effort, not your effort. Somebody will come and help you from somewhere because of the fifth. That's because of your past birth karma. Okay? Same thing. Even if the first lord is not well, not great, decently okay, right? If the fifth lord and the fifth house is so strong, that person can go enough heights. Now, look at the other way around. If the ascendant lord and ascendant house is great, if the fifth is not that great, there is limitation. So fifth is the one which is so important among all these houses, which is what I'm going to explain to all the 12 ascendants now for unlocking free will. And I will explain the rules and I'll explain when it will happen. Okay? Any questions now?
Just real quickly, I don't want to take up too much time, but you had also mentioned karma in the 10th house. So
Correct.
How is this karma different than what's deposited in the 5th house?
So the karma, okay, so you have to understand what is the karma, right? The karma is when you're born in this birth, you are fulfilling all that karma in the 10th house. Now from the 5th house, go touch the 10th house. It will come to 6 places. Okay? The loss of the 5th house in that comes in the 10th house. So from your past, as imagine you are bringing from your past birth certain good karma, right? That good karma is all of in the 5th house is all being lost in the 10th house. Just the same way you have the interest money, you're using the interest money, the deposit money.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. So let's move on to the ascendants. It's almost 9.
Yeah, okay. So, Aries ascendant, okay? Aries ascendant, Aries rising sign, Aries lagna, okay? The 5th house, 5th lord is owned by Sun, okay? Leo, right? So all Aries ascendants, right? What you have to do to get the free will here, right? To unlock the 5th house, 5th lord, Sunday is going to be the most important day in your life. All through your life. Imagine Sunday is the most important in your life, okay? Number 1. So what I want you guys to do is, all through the life, for Aries ascendant, you want to fast, or at least if you can't fast on a Sunday, forget it. Avoid meat, seafood, non-veg food, everything on a Sunday. Okay? On a Sunday. Now, do make sure father is an important place, having this control of the sun here. So respect your father a lot. Okay? Respect your father. If at all you want to show your anger with your father or anything, do not show it on a Sunday. Okay? Now, also, because 5th house is also connected with education, you want to make your teacher happy. Okay? You want to make your teacher happy. You can give donation or like food like wheat or on a Sunday to people, temple, whatever it is, right? You can do that. And in terms of the God, I would recommend it's Lord Shiva. Okay? Now by doing this, right, on a continued basis, right, I will explain the rules once I finish the ascendants, when you would see the good karma coming in later, once I finish the 12 ascendants, okay? This is for Aries ascendant. Now, Taurus ascendant, right? For Taurus ascendant, the 5th house would go into Virgo, okay? The ruler is Mercury, right? So all Taurus ascendants, right? It's important that what you do is, because the 5th is ruled by Mercury here, Wednesday is going to be the most important day for you. Wednesday, okay? So literally make sure to take a bath. Like I forgot to say for the Aries ascendant, make sure be clean, okay? Avoid alcohol, all those things avoid, okay? So all those things, like be celibate, right? That day, no sex, nothing, literally, right? Same thing for a Taurus ascendant. The 5th one is Wednesday. So Mercury, avoid non-veg on a Wednesday, right? And then your mother's uncle is an important thing here that's also significant. So make sure in your mother's uncle's side and everything, be nice to them. And what I can think of is the god would be, I would say, Balaji or Vishnu. Yeah. And then I would say that mentally retarded people, right? So take care by volunteering schools or educations, institutions, or mentally retarded people, and do all this on a Wednesday. Okay, you can give money if you want, you can do volunteer, etc. Right? Now it's also important that eat green vegetables on a Wednesday. Green vegetables also signifies to support this. The next is you can donate green gram to a homeless people or temple or whatever it is, right, on a Wednesday. So this is for Taurus ascendant. Okay. The next one I would go is...
Srini, I have a question. You said green. I missed the word that you said.
Green gram.
Okay.
And then you can eat green vegetables on a Wednesday, right? On a Wednesday. Okay. Right. So next is Gemini ascendant. The Gemini ascendant, the 5th house. Okay. The 5th house is coming, would come under Libra. That's owned by Venus, right? So now Friday is the rule you want to follow. Okay. On a Friday, again, same thing, right? No non-veg food, right? Then no meat, alcohol, sex, all those things. Now help poor people, especially women. Okay. Help poor women. Help like divorced or even single, etc. Right? You can give money, food, whatever you want, right? And the goddess, I would say, is Lakshmi here, right? And in terms of the food, if you want to donate, is like a white beans, okay? That's what I would say for the third is Gemini ascendant, okay? The fourth one I'm going to go is Cancer ascendant. Cancer ascendant, the 5th house is Scorpio. That's owned by Mars, okay? So Mars comes on a Tuesday, right? Now, same rules you follow for a Tuesday, right? Non-veg, seafood, alcohol, be clean, shower, etc., right? Now, it's important here, you want to make sure you don't fight with your brothers on that day, Tuesday especially, right? Donating blood is a very good thing also, right? Donating blood, you want to do it on a Tuesday in this case. Now, so what else I can think of? The god, I would say, would be Lord Kartikeya or Muruga or Hanuman, okay, or a Tuesday. And in terms of helping or supporting people, you can help police officers, army, and who else I can think of, sports people, in terms of volunteering or help, okay? That's what doctors also. Yeah, doctors also you can do, correct. Exactly. Good one. Thank you. Okay?
Srini, I'm sorry, you said Hanuman and who else?
Hanuman, Kartikeya. Or Muruga. His name is Lord Muruga.
Or Murugan.
Yeah. Okay? The next is Leo ascendant. Okay? Leo ascendant is the 5th house would fall on Sagittarius. So Jupiter is the owner. Okay? Now, very important. No meat. So be clean on a Thursday. No meat, no seafood. Take a shower and make your teacher happy, right? Teacher, mentor, do not, once in a while, call your teacher on a Thursday, right? Call your professor. Just say, or email, call. And now it's difficult to meet, but call or have a Zoom call and say, I just thought of you. I just thought back of the school of those olden days. I just wanted to thank you. Just do the recognition on a Thursday, okay? Make them happy, right? Now, where you want to do is you want to help education or like school, college, money, volunteer, whatever it is on a Thursday. Now, the deity to pray for would be Lord Dakshinamurti, right? And I think Marjorie, I've clarified this to you before, right? Lord Dakshinamurti.
Yes.
So that's the one. And what else I missed? If you want to donate, you can donate Bengal gram, chickpeas, yellow lentils, all those things, right? On a Thursday. Okay? So that's for a Leo ascendant. Next is for a Virgo ascendant, right? The 5th house falls on Capricorn, right? Owned by Saturn. Now, so Saturday becomes a very important day, right? For non-veg and partying, all those things, right? Now, help poor people, right? Poor people, handicapped people here on a Saturday. It can be food, it can be money, all those things, right? Now, you can do that, and what else I can think of? Food, money, handicapped, senior citizens people, old age people, right? You see some old age people in a grocery store or anything. See whatever you can help, right? And the god to pray would be Vishnu, Vishnu, and the donation you can look at sesame seeds or rice you can make with sesame, stuff and give also as that as well on a Saturday. Okay. Next we have finished is Libra ascendant. Now the Libra ascendant, the 5th house goes to Aquarius, owned by Saturn. Again, in this case, what you're going to do the same thing what I mentioned earlier. So Saturday becomes important day for a Libra ascendant, right? And then I don't know if I mentioned the god for Saturday earlier or not. It's Vishnu. So remember, again, I'm saying it: non-veg food, healthy, and etc. Old people, handicapped people, senior citizens people, money, food. You can do sesame thing, same thing. Next is Mars, right? The Scorpio house. The 5th house goes to Pisces, owned by Jupiter. So Thursday important. Same thing, food restrictions I said earlier. And then what you want to do on a Thursday is you want to call your teacher, make them happy, etc. Education, school, and all those things comes into play, right? As I mentioned, money or volunteer as well. Now, food-wise, Bengal gram, chickpeas, yellow lentils, you can think any one of those, right? And you can mix it with rice and give as well. The god would be Lord Dakshinamurti, yeah? Next is what? When do we finish here? Okay, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the 5th house. Sagittarius ascendant, the 5th house goes to Aries, right? Now, for Aries, again, it's a Mars energy, right? So, because of Mars energy, Tuesday is important. Make your brother happy, take out him for lunch, right? So, do all those good things for your siblings in this case, right? Donating blood, police, army, sports, hospital, whatever help you can do, right? Money, volunteering, etc. Then pigeon piece is the one you can donate at all if you want to on a Tuesday. And the deity would be, I would say, is Kartikeya or Muruga, and then Hanuman as well. The next one is you have Capricorn ascendant, right? The 5th house goes to Venus, right? So Friday is an important day. You have goddess Lakshmi. So no other things on a Friday, what I said. And then help poor people, especially women, divorced, single, right? All those people with money, food, whatever you can. Lakshmi is the important deity, and then white beans is the food you can give. The next one is Aquarius, right? The 5th house for Aquarius goes to Mercury, right? So that's owned by 5th house goes to Gemini, which is owned by Mercury. So Wednesday becomes an important day. So follow all those rules on a Wednesday. Keep your mother's side uncle happy, right? Mentally retarded people, right? The Down syndrome, right? The Down syndrome and all those things, right? And then you can also do for school and education as well here, as giving money or volunteering as well. Eat green vegetables, and in terms of donation, you can donate green gram, and then you can pray to Lord Balaji, right? Vishnu, the other version as well. And the next one is Pisces ascendant, the last ascendant, okay? So the last ascendant here, which goes to Moon, right? Because Moon owns the 5th house here. Because it's Moon now, so what you want to do is Monday becomes an important day. So again on a Monday, no meat, seafood, etc., right? Then make your mom happy here. Mother becomes a very important. Recognize your mom, make her happy, right? Now, if one more important thing, right? If somebody don't have a mom or dad, how do I do this? This will be a question also in this process, right? So whoever takes care of you, right? Very good way. is also like a mom, is also like a dad, is also like a brother. Do understand that, okay? So you can also think through the same process as well as a motherly figure, fatherly figure, right? Then mental hospitals, right? Again, mental hospitals is a very important place for volunteering money and helping moms, as you see in grocery store, whatever it is you can think of, right? Doing that. In terms of donation, you can give milk, rice, clothes comes into play, right? And the goddess here is Durga or Shakti, okay? So this is for the 12 ascendants. I have told the rules. Now, I have given all the rules. I will tell you when you would start seeing results, right? Everybody wants to always knows this, right? Now,
Srini, so sorry to interrupt. For Aries Ascendant, what do you donate and who do you donate to? I don't think I...
Okay, that's okay, no problem. Aries Ascendant, the 5th house is owned by Sun, right? The 5th house is owned by Sun and Leo, so Leo house Sun, okay? For Aries Ascendant, what you do is Sunday becomes an important day, okay? Sunday. So now keep your father happy, recognize your father. And also your teacher as well, okay? Teacher, happy. Now what you can donate is wheat, okay? Wheat, right? And what you can do is on a Sunday donate wheat, or you can donate wheat with rice also if you want, okay? Now can be to a temple, to homeless people, whoever it is. And the important thing is the God you want to pray for is Lord Shiva, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, let me finish the rules also, right? Let me finish. Now I have given you some set of rules. I want you to make sure you follow. How do you follow the free will? Okay? Now, you understand, all of you understand that we are doing something good to get in return. Okay? I think, Sangeeta, you also asked this question yesterday, right? So this is something I want to answer it today in a little bit more detailed way. So first thing is, don't be selfish when giving, okay? Whatever you can do that, okay? Number 2, in all this process, right, as you're doing Aries Ascendant, Leo, 5th Sunday, right? You're doing all this. Just pray for only one thing. Do not pray for 2, 3, 4, 5, anything more than one, okay? Your continued prayer, your continued wish is only for one thing, okay? Now think through that to know what is that one thing you want to ask, okay? Before you start this process, okay? That's the most important thing, Sangeeta. That's what I said to you yesterday. I will answer your question tomorrow for this session. If you ask multiple things, it won't work out. It won't. This free will won't work out. So remember one thing. Now do understand, as I said earlier, and let's give an example. If people are single, not got married, or issues with marriage, that means first you should know in your chart if there is marriage promised or not. If marriage is not promised, right, then you should know through free will is your marriage promised or not. Do those due diligence first and then go for this ask, okay? Same thing for children. In your chart, is children promised in your chart or not, right? Through fate. If not through free will, do you think children is guaranteed or not? If not, don't go through this. So the way I would say is, think through what you want to ask. How do you want to do this through the 5th house, 5th Lord thing, okay? Then go for it. If you start switching gears and changing all this along the process, it may not even work. I'll clearly say it out loud, okay? That's one. So now let's say somebody has thought of something. And the other most important thing is, please, do not share with anybody. So you have a way of doing things, right? You probably think of 10 things. You filter it out to 4. You finally figure out between the 4 what you want to do, and you end up with 1. Do not share to anybody what you have thought when you are praying for this. That is the other rule. Do not share, including your mother, including your kid, spouse, whoever it is, your boyfriend, doesn't matter. Do not share with anyone. what you are asking for. Okay, so another good thing is people, we were talking about eclipses yesterday also, people who would have had a tough time with the eclipse, especially those constellations, they can use this also for support. Yeah, so that's the other rule I mentioned, is do not share it with anybody, yes, other than you. Now see, the idea here is if you want help to figure out the 10 things, etc., yes, you can do that. You end up on the 4. Now eventually from the 4 you are filtered, you don't know which one you are going to choose and which one you are going after. Do not let anybody know which is the one eventually you're going after. That's the important point, right? So do understand that. And so let's say somebody starts doing this, has thought of something, start doing it, has done all the groundwork, right? And one more important thing, when do you want to start this is the next thing. The first time you want to do, don't do it today, tomorrow, everything, right? Now don't do it. The full moon, when the next full moon is coming, right, you can start doing that time period, right? The full moon. So maybe the next session or comes, I will give dates for who can start doing at that time, right? Or I'll figure out a way how to do that through people who have Twitter account or everything. We'll figure out a way for that also with the recording as well. For which Sunday, which Monday, when to start. Because full moon is the time you want to start. Do not start this also right now. But do your thought process of mapping it out which one to do, okay? So that's another important thing about full moon. So you started this process now, okay? You know you have started, etc. When will you get the result is the question, right? So I'll tell you in my experiences from what I've observed. Remember, now comes all these answers which I was asking you earlier, right? A lot of people said the 9th house, the 5th house, the 1st house. Exactly, that's the answer. So when you are running a Mahadasa, right, of the 5th Lord, the 9th Lord, or the 1st Lord, right, or Antardasa of the 1st, 5th, or the 9th, that is when you will get this, what you're doing now. Okay? So for example, somebody who's undergoing Ketu Mahadasa, right, may not even get this, for example. Because Ketu Mahadasa in this case won't give you, I will tell you straight away, okay? It won't give you the result. So it's before Ketu or after Ketu will come here, right? Now, Rahu Mahadasa more than likely won't give unless if it is a Mahadasa Antardasa of Jupiter or Venus, which is your 5th or your 9th, then likely yes, but Ketu won't give, okay? The rest 8 planets, no problem. Now, from your ascendant, you will have to run, okay, a 5th or the 9th Mahadasa or Antardasa at least, Antardasa, right? And that has to be placed well to give you this result. So that is when you would see some time to see the result. So somebody, I'll give an example, who would have started the Ketu Mahadasa a year ago. 6 years won't see the result. I'll tell you. You have to work on the karma for the 6 years next. Venus comes in, and I'll give an example. Maybe that person is a Capricorn ascendant. Venus comes in. Venus is a Yoga Karaka, the 5th and the 10th. Straight away when Venus Mahadasa comes in, okay, in Venus Mahadasa, the Antardasa, Venus Antardasa won't give, right? But somewhere between the Venus Mahadasa, you would start seeing the result, okay? That is when you would start seeing the result. So I have told you when to start, what are the things to do, and when will you get the result.
Srini?
Now ask the questions. Go ahead.
So now that we understand the correlations of the ascendants with the 5th house lords, what do they actually represent, right? So we talked about how really the 5th house is the most important house and really drives your free will. So, let's just take a Leo ascendant who has a 5th house of Sagittarius, right? So the Lord is Jupiter. What does that mean for this person?
So, no. So here is the thing, right? It doesn't matter what it means, right? So the 5th house is also to you're building good karma in this birth here now. You're building the good karma. So you are now using your fifth lord to support your whole thing. Okay? If the Leo ascendant, fifth house is Jupiter. So you follow all the rules of what I told for Jupiter on a Thursday. Right? On a Thursday. You start doing that. Once you do that and you pray for that one thing. Okay? Now, depending on whose Mahadasa you're running. So you told me two things. You have told me Leo ascendant. Fifth lord is Sagittarius. You're activating the fifth house and fifth lord here through this process of Freewill. Now, tell me whose Mahadasa this person is running.
I don't know. I think it's Jupiter.
Okay, so great, right? Jupiter Mahadasa. Now, within that Mahadasa, there is a good chance of getting it. Now, which Antardasa is the question next?
Okay, let me switch it. I have, let's try to do Gemini ascendant. So, Venus is the fifth house. Mahadasha of Venus and Antardasha of Jupiter.
Okay, so the Antardasa of Jupiter, for Gemini ascendant, Jupiter owns the 7th and the 10th. So your Antardasa of Jupiter you're not going to get. After Jupiter, you have Saturn, right? Saturn owns the 8th and the 9th, right? So for a Gemini ascendant, right, Venus Mahadasa or Venus Mahadasa is running, and Saturn Antardasa, right? Saturn Antardasa is when you would likely to get this, right? But do understand, Saturn is also a natural malefic. So what happens is, when you start getting it, you will only slowly get it, the last part, with some delay. Okay? That is how it will do.
Got it. Okay, okay, makes sense.
So, at any point of time, your Mahadasa, Antardasa has to support here. The 5th and the 9th has to support, or the 1st, 5th, 9th. But those Mahadasa, Antardasa sequence has to come for you to support this.
And then Srini, just real quick, so Mahadasha and Antardasha, and then the third...
Pratyanta. You don't need to go that way. This two is enough.
I know, but can you just explain what it actually means, the three?
Okay, sure. Okay, so the Mahadasa is nothing but 120 years of life cycle. Okay, everybody says that has to undergo 120 years, and it's broken down into a sequence. And there is a calculation, and I think I've done a session before why certain planets gets 120 years, or within 120 years why certain planets gets it. Basically, you can think this way: there are 9 planets, and if you want, you can write it down. I will give you the years. Ketu starts with 7. After Ketu, it's Venus is 20, and after Venus is Sun is 6. After Sun 6 is Moon is 10, and Moon 10 is Mars is 7. After Mars 7 is Rahu 18, the North Node. After that is Jupiter is 16. After that is Saturn 19, and then Mercury 17 last. If you add, you will get 120. So there are 9 root planets. Mahadasa means when you're undergoing a Mahadasa of a certain planet, that is the captain. That is going to be the captain of your ship. Okay? Now, the Antardasa becomes your vice captain. So within, let's take, you said you are undergoing you are undergoing Venus Mahadasa, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for a Venus Mahadasa, 20 years. You will run for 20 years. That's your captain. Now, what happens is, in his 20 years of... So look at it this way. I'm just trying to see a very good example, how to explain. So he is the captain. In his 20 years of captainship, there will be 9 vice captains coming into play. Okay? Based on the breakage. So Venus Mahadasa, first Venus Mahadasa, Venus Antardasa will start. That will be almost 2.5 years or 3 years, close to that. Okay? Then you will see the sequence after Venus, it will be Venus Sun. And then Venus Moon, Venus Mars, Venus Rahu. It will go all the way 9 vice captains you will have. Now each of these vice captain will start giving those results along with Venus. So Venus would always give you, the Mahadasa will give you 50% of the result. The Antardasa, the vice captain, will give you 25% of the result. That is how the breakdown is. The next 25% comes from transits. Okay?
Got it.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Like you said now, for if it's a Leo ascendant and you have like the Jupiter Mahadasha, so that's already good, no? So why would we go down to check the Antardasa? I mean, maybe I just missed out this part.
So here is the thing, right? So you have 3 pillars, the first, 5th, and the 9th. Okay? The first, 5th, and the 9th. Just the way you have in Vedic astrology, it always has to be a combination of 2 things here to give something. Okay? So just the way, look at a day. Look at 24 hours in a day. There is a day and a night. There is a male energy, there is a female energy. The battery, there's a plus and a minus. You need 2 things to give you the current kind of a thing. So you need another support here to give you the best result through this process. The Mahadasa can be still running. Something else will come and give you the result. That's why you need the second one.
Okay, I get your point. And what if that's a Mercury? Because that's kind of my thing also.
So, what is, say that again?
So, Leo ascendant, Jupiter, Mercury, Mahadasa, Antardasa.
Okay, so Jupiter Mahadasa, Mercury Antardasa, right? For a Leo ascendant, yes. Mercury owns the 2nd and the 11th house. It's not going to give you anything. Okay? Jupiter owns the 5th, right? Now, because he's also the 5th lord, there is only one exception to this rule here. The one exception is, and I forgot to tell to Sangeeta also earlier, I forgot, because the one exception is, you are undergoing the 5th lord Mahadasa. Yeah. Just I think Sangeeta, you're also undergoing 5th lord Mahadasa for a Gemini ascendant. Because it's a 5th lord Mahadasa, he is the captain, he is getting 50% of the result, he alone can give you this result straight away in his Mahadasa. It doesn't matter. He will give you the result. He can give you quicker. Now, if you're not undergoing a 5th lord Mahadasa, then you need the 2 supporting things somewhere to come in. Okay?
Okay, so it's just like if it's the 5th lord Mahadasha and it's the 5th lord, so basically we can have the same result.
You can have the same result pretty quickly. Correct. Okay, the only thing is it may not give you the time period of Ketu. Do you understand? Ketu, or it may not give you the time period of Saturn or something. Some other planet has to come to support that. Again, it will go to the team A, team B ascendant thing. But you will get the results soon because you're undergoing the 5th lord Mahadasa. Okay?
Okay,
thanks. It has to be 5th and 9th lord, not the 1st, right?
No, 5th, 9th, or 1st. All 3 are the pillars, right?
Oh, okay. So, or they're under dashas,
correct? Correct.
Got it. Thanks.
I think, Srini, what I have understood so far is good. But then I think somewhere it is still a fate only. Because, if I give you my example, I have already gone through the 5th Lord Mahadasha and 9th Lord Mahadasha also. Okay, so now running the Ketu Mahadasha. So I will not get anything for 7 years. Okay, so after that, Venus Mahadasha will come after 7 years. But by that time, the what I want to pray for is no more relevant, or So it is also a kind of fate in a way that Mahadasha is not coming to me to give me the results.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I was telling you.
So it is not a free will in that sense.
No. So this is why I'll tell you, my friend, this is exactly what I was saying. It's because if you go check your 5th house and 5th lord, you're not bought a lot of past good karma in a way to activate quickly. That's the whole point, Rajesh.
Okay.
That is the whole point. See, this also explains why Abhishek Bachchan was born in Amitabh Bachchan's house, nor versus you and me were not born in Amitabh Bachchan's house. Simple. He has bought past birth karma, very good past birth karma he's got.
Yeah, so it is a kind of also fate that I might have come into contact with you, maybe 7 years back or 10 years back, so that I would have known this, and then I would have practiced, and then probably into my 5th house.
Tell me your ascendant again. Tell me your ascendant again. Which is Capricorn. Taurus ascendant, right?
Yes.
Taurus ascendant, right? So okay. You're finishing. So you're mistaken, right? Who's Mahadasa you're finishing now? Ketu.
Mercury.
So after you finish Mercury, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ketu starting. After you finish Ketu, Venus will start. Correct?
Yeah, but by that time, as per my age, those things may not be relevant.
True. Fair enough. Exactly, right? I see your point now. I see your point. Point. That's the whole point, my friend. People, you'll only get to know certain things when you will get to know. Simple. This is exactly how it works. I was telling Scarlett and other people the other day, even yesterday also, this 360 versus 365-25. I didn't know this 365-25 until 2013. And I was always following 365-25. I didn't know about 360. I read it, but I didn't apply it. I missed it completely. Only when 6 months earlier things were happening to me, I started breaking my head 6 to 7. Why it's happening? Why is it happening? What did I do wrong? And then when I went and checked, I applied 360 days. Then it worked out. But then guess what? By the time according to my calendar, Jupiter Mahadasa was only going to start few months later. But the minute I applied it, I saw that Jupiter Mahadasa already started 2 months earlier. But again, that wisdom I only got it in Jupiter Mahadasa. So what I'm saying is, the universe will also know when to give you what.
So to this discussion, Srini and Rajesh, so if we were to define free will as something that happens according to your choice, and fate as something that is given to you with no choice of yours, right? So
go ahead, I'm listening. Go ahead.
So in that case, I mean, I'm just thinking through this, right? So especially through Rajesh's example, right? Let's just say Rajesh wants to buy a house today, right? Does he have the choice to buy a house or not? So a portal of the portal of this entire universe trying to help him to buy that house must open up, right? That we are talking about it through this Mahadasha and Antardasha. Is that
right? That's a really great question, and I was thinking at the same thing. Like, your chart overall has to support that action that you want to take.
That's what I exactly said some time ago. If you remember, if your chart doesn't promise, I gave an example of marriage or childbirth. If your chart doesn't promise marriage through fate, right? Through fate, or childbirth through fate, you have to go and check through free will it's going to give it or not. Then you're going to apply this process.
How is it free will then? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was going to ask.
Okay, so let me explain how is it free will, right? So the thing here is you are building good karma, right? You're building good karma in this process to counteract that fate. Had you not done that good free will in this process, you're not going to get it. That's how it is.
Okay, so then you're saying, so free will is something that we can perform an action on in this world, right? So if fate does not promise something to you through that cycle of Mahadasha and Antardasha primarily, then we use free will to leverage what is possible to then influence fate in a way, maybe not now, but at some point of time in the future. When it is.
That's the whole point, right? That's the whole point. See, the reality is...
Because in the scope of the free will there, right? Because in the scope of the free will there, not everything that you want is possible. So then you're using what is possible to get to what you want at a later point of time. And then it comes back to Rajesh's point where at that later point of time, is that even relevant then or not? I mean, so, you see, I mean, it's an interesting thing to look at and like, you know.
But if it's not relevant at that later point in time, that just means that your chart is not supporting those actions.
Exactly. But that's the whole point. But then
that's what I'm saying. Again, I am confused.
Right. But here's the thing too, right? At a later point of time, what it means is if something comes to you without you asking for it, it's just given to you. I mean, whether you want it or not, it's then just given to you. Right? That's how it is, probably. Maybe Srini, you can add.
See, the point here, the point here is that you have come with low fifth, not a strong fifth house. That's the whole point here, right? So I'll give examples how I have used this. Maybe I'll give examples, right? So let me tell you how I have done it, okay? Maybe I'll give several examples, okay? One example I'll give you for childbirth. And I think I've said this before to people in Clubhouse, and I use this methodology, okay? Back in 2014, there was somebody who came to me, right, for not having a child for several years. But the problem was, this was 2014 October or something like October. The problem is that person was resigning and going back to India. Now that you know, they were living outside India, so both of them were working, no family support. So it was great for them, right? Because the minute they were going back to India, they were under pressure for having kids, okay? Now she came to me and she showed all the reports I have, IUF, IVF, everything, right? And all the reports came with, they couldn't find any problem, but they said, we're not able to show what it is, cannot find it, okay? Now, she was a person who did not believe in this, okay? But she was out of curiosity, started asking questions. And through the chart, I was able to explain to her a lot of things. She kind of slowly got into it. Now, the point came is 2015 February, she resigned, and 2015 March, she moved back to India. So, at the time, she said she's going to already resign. So, now, when I traveled out after 3 weeks and came back, she was under high pressure because, you know, everybody was asking about the baby thing. So then she started literally chasing me, you know, to get it done. So I looked at her chart, okay? They have been married, and at that time, right, she was 36, 37, okay? She was 36, 36. So she said she's been trying, nothing happened. So I looked at her chart for kids, okay? So I looked at a D1 chart, a D7 chart, a Mahadasa, all those things, right? So a lot of issues blocking. But I found out a way to navigate to see if at all there is a chance, okay? And I could find out, okay? But then I told her that there is a very small chance. And she asked me, what's the chance? I'm talking about 10%, 20%. That's a chance. She said, doctors gave me literally 0% because they can't tell anything more than this. So my chance was better than the doctor's chance. Then what happened? I asked her, I told her, you have to start doing it. The time period to come will be 2019 to 2021. That is the time period when you are going to have it in this case. Okay? In this case, specifically, because I went and checked everything. So then I told her to do all the remedies, what I told. So she started doing this from 2015 onwards. And last year, 2020, in COVID, in April, right, she got a kid. Okay? So this is one example. I can give several examples if you want.
Did she run the Mahadasha of the 5th, 9th, or 1st Lord?
Yeah, exactly. But do understand, it took time. 2014, 15, she started doing 2015. It took almost 5+ years to get it.
So Srini, can we, in this case, after this example, can we say
there is no 100% free will without fate, nor there is fate without 100%. Both of them are related in some way or the other.
They are. That's what I said, right? When I started to explain, I started the free will as an indirect fate. That's what I mentioned.
Right.
I called it out as in that we all saying the same thing, old wine and a new bottle.
Basically, it seems like it's fate with a little bit of movement. That's what free will is. There's a little bit of nuance to it.
Here you are putting my friend, you are putting a very special, serious effort in this process here, right? You are putting a very focused effort here.
Of your choice, though, isn't it?
Right, if you believe and you're doing it. That's what I'm saying, right? You're believing in it, you're putting it in, right?
It's like the power of manifestation.
It is, right? Exactly. That is what the whole title is here, manifestation.
So I think I take the example of Srini, which he gave in the beginning. That is the airport example.
Yeah.
So first of all, you should have a flight to catch.
Correct.
It's not in your control. So somebody has booked a tour for you. You have the free will to only to choose the path to airport.
Correct.
So if your flight is not
hold on. Path or when you leave.
Yeah.
Both.
So if there is no travel for you, so whichever path or time you take to go to airport, it will result in nothing. At the most, you will only reach airport and do nothing.
No, correct. So what I'm saying is, if that is what one needs to be activated, then one have to look at the other way around. That's what I'm trying to say again. But again, what I'm saying is, you can apply it as fate or indirect fate, however you want to look at it. If the chart doesn't promise in both the ways, then it's gone. So look at it this way. Let me tell you this way as childbirth. Normal delivery, C-section. 2 options here, right? Keep the surrogate and everything aside for a minute. So all I'm saying is this is a C-section way of doing it. That's all I'm trying to say.
So Shri, the first example you gave, the wife is who she's chart. Her chart is what you went based off. Did you look at the husband's chart, or is that not significant?
It is significant. But having said that, the challenge I did not look at it is because the birth time was not accurate for her husband. Okay, and they are Catholic. And they didn't even believe originally at all. So it was kind of a thing where she accidentally bumped into some of these things and there was no option eventually, right? She openly said, if I have to give the whole conversation, first she said, I don't even believe all this stuff. And she walked away. And as she went out, the door was closing, she came in again. So tell me, what can you tell about me? I said, you just told me you don't believe about it. So what's the point in me wasting your time and my time? I have a flight to catch myself. Speaking of that, I had a flight to catch in the night. No, I want you to tell me. So I said, okay, do you have all this information? I have my date of birth, place of birth, but I don't have my time of birth, but I'll call my mother. So she called her mother and she got it in 5 minutes. And I did her. And I told her whatever it is, it was like shocking. She said, wow. She said, I don't know what to say, I'm shocked. And literally she was shocked. And she walked away. I went and I came after 3 weeks. That's when the whole trigger happened. She came to me because she was trying to tell me that she is resigning and she's moving back to India. And that whole family pressure was coming in. She now, because both of them are working, right? So they always had somewhere this reason of kids or whatever it is in her case. Now they're going back. The pressure was enormous for her. And they were not planning to work, both of them. They were just planning to, while away for some time with family and all those things because they've been out of India for 10, 12 years or so. So, yeah, but that's what it is.
Thank you, Srini.
You're welcome.
Hey, Srini, I had a question. So when you talk about being able to get married through work or free will, does that also mean it's a higher chance of divorce or separation if it comes through that and it's not guaranteed in the chart, marriage?
I'm not sure I understood your question. You have to say it again. Sorry.
You said if marriage is not guaranteed in the chart, right? But through effort and your own free will, you might be able to still get married, correct?
If the chart promises it, correct. Through the free will process, correct. There is a way to do that. There is a way to check that.
Okay, but does that mean that there's a higher chance of separation or divorce if it's only coming through the free will process?
Not really, right? Not really. No.
Okay.
Not really, because I'll tell you one thing. So, Because first important thing, right? The first important thing, if you look at, you are born where you are born right now is because of your fifth house, which is the weakest. Because I realized when I asked the questions, I realized that either I didn't ask the question very well, the right way, or somewhere people didn't pick the connection when I gave all the 12 houses things. Because fifth house is so important, right? It's your past birth karma. It's all the deposit. So the fifth house can take you to highest level. Even if your ascendant lord is okay, which can just make you, keep you alive. Your ninth lord is okay, it's fine. Ninth house is fine. But your fifth alone can pick you up all the way to the thing. Okay? So the point what you are doing now is that you are gaining excess things through this process. Right? You are doing something good. But as I said, there are rules around it. Right? There are rules. Like, don't be selfish asking a lot of things. It won't work. It will never work. And as human beings, let me tell you this, including myself, right? We tend to ask a lot of things in the process. We always tend to ask a lot of things. We don't stop with one or two things. That's where the biggest challenge is. Now, tell me one thing. Let's be honest, okay? When we are praying, when we are asking something, or we go to the temple praying, whatever it is there anybody in the room who have only asked for one thing, and not more than one? All the time.
Can you like reconstruct the question so it's all inclusive?
Sure. So in this case, in the free will process, what I said was, when you're doing all these things, you're asking only for one thing. You're focusing on one thing, right? The same way to explain, when we are doing some good things, we are praying to God, right? Is there a time where you have always felt you only asked one thing, give me one thing, I'm fine, I'm done with this? Have we ever stopped? I don't think we have stopped that way.
Yes, really. Yes.
So
why is that important?
Why is it important is two things, right? That energy gets bounced and doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. Okay? So remember, I'll give you an email. Okay? You put, example, you put 10 people in a team. You don't assign who's the Rasky or whatever rules. You don't assign. No, you're never going to get things done. The other person will think the other person is going to do, other person, etc. Right? Without proper coordination. Same thing, right? When you become selfish, the universe just ignores you when you ask a lot of things through this process. Okay? So these are some of these rules which, in my experiences, I've studied, I have put through all these things, and I've seen it work. Now, I have myself failed in the past, right? I have myself failed in the past miserably when I asked the two things, three things, etc. It did not work. I will also tell you those things did not work. Okay? Then eventually I started filtering. Eventually it came to this one. That's when it started working for me. And I have tried at least 10 times. It worked.
Srini, how do we know that it's this process that's actually making it work as opposed to it being your fate that's working?
So great point, right? Then don't do it. It's a belief. It's the same thing as how do you know God is there or not?
Srini,
it's the same thing.
I have a question. What if
Hold on. 1 minute. Yeah, let me answer
Srini,
this. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
So I think the main question one needs to ask yourself is, why would you access free will? You access free will is because some state of your coping mechanism is failing in accepting your fate.
Absolutely correct,
right?
Ramona. Yeah,
so
exactly.
What ideally happens is, when you do these remedies, it brings you out of your life. It brings you out of your mind, because whenever anyone fasts, for instance, what are you doing? You're not stimulating, I have to eat lunch now, I have to eat breakfast now, I have to eat eggs now. You get out of that zone of the body. And when you look at the fifth house in the Kalpurush Kundali, the fifth house ideally is the soul. Fifth, the sun, Leo. So it's accessing parts of your soul and your consciousness to get more out of what your past life karmas, good out of your past life karma. Like we have like a karmic box inside of us. Like we have certain experiences we manifested out of learning and choice. And what ideally happens is when we get stuck with these, let's just say these relationships or this job or wherever you're finding this end route and whatever you're trying to do, it kind of fails. That's when you access free will in a certain sense, where you actually say, hey, you know, I, out of personal determination, want to change this area of my life, but all my coping mechanisms are failing. So that's when you go out and take the upaya and energize yourself with the planet that is attached to the 5th house, or that day. For instance, it would be Venus or it would be Sun, depends on your ascendant. And you focus primarily on getting out of your mind, so as to say, as well as getting out of your comfort zone to actually access what your capacity and capability is as a soul in this world, you know. So
it's like it's like a placebo effect, you know.
Not really placebo. Your soul has so much information, and based on how you are brought up and what your learning is, how your preconditions are for the first 7 houses usually show your precondition of how you were raised, what kind of routine do you have, what kind of family do you have, what kind of background do you have. The first 7 houses show that, right? The next 7 houses, they show the outer life of the individual, from the 7th house to 12th. So ideally, like when you examine this as an astrologer, you look at the whole dynamic of what's in play or in the individual. The 5th house is what you access to actually bring out the fruits of the past life. So the goodness, like Srini is mentioning, that there is information in your soul also to access. Because if bad karmas and good karmas are going to happen, you've chosen to be born in this life to these parents. That is the basic principle of life, right? And what you make out of it is obviously your own personal free will. So like 2nd house is the wealth you're born into. 4th house is what you create out of it, right? So you make the car out of it, or whatever, you know, it's the lineage which you bring forth, which you are born into, and then you manifest based out of your learning and upbringing, and bring that into the 4th house, right? The vehicles, the cars, the properties, all this is seen there. But suppose you're stuck in a rut of fate, you know, this particular remedy, it will help in energizing one to move forth with getting more access to the soul, more access to your past life roots, more access to what your capacity and capability is, and also develop more coping mechanisms with time. Because once you keep witnessing, you know, out of your life, like you say you do donations, you go out of your life, you witness this donation, right? You're not just giving it and coming back. You're witnessing the other person's sentiment and emotion. It opens a part of compassion within you. It shows you some gratification in that person's eyes and receiving that. These are very intense processes. When we say donate, you just don't go and give something and come back and say, I donated, nothing happened. It's the whole act of donating. It's that karma you're creating, where you're actually making an act to not obtain something. Of course, you're doing something good out of your own inner life, and you're learning something about the world more than what your inner world has to teach you. Because suppose I stay at home now in COVID, all of us have stayed at home and we've examined, like, oh my God, I have a shit relationship with my mom, or oh my God, I didn't pay attention to these factors because I was so busy doing my everyday routine, right? So then ideally what happens to you is you want to make amends. You want to understand, like, what is it that I can do to make my life better? What is it that I don't want these ghosts in my consciousness constantly going on and on and on, telling me that, okay, try this, try that, try this. But you've tried all of it. And somehow, somewhere, this situation is going on, repeating itself. It's happened to many people. I don't know if it's happened to any of you, but I've had situations repeat themselves continuously in my life, and unless I didn't personally determine to do something out of my life and get out of the rut of like my inner conscious, like what's happening in my inner world, like with what fate is giving me, I didn't understand what my capacity was more than what I'm experiencing. So therefore, these upayas, they come to use where you really experience things from the perspective from outside your life. Go outside your life and actually see what your capacity is without the inner framework of your relationships, your family, your background, your learning. And in fact, you learn more as well, right? Because if you go into an area, suppose I put you in a space where you're not supposed to be, right? You will start to get out of your comfort zone, and you will start to like get stimulated by different things. If you've never been to old age home, you suddenly realize that wow, this is a different world out here. If you're fifth house is Capricorn, let's just say, and you're doing some remedy for an old age person, you go to an old age home and you just don't drop biscuits and come out there, right? You go there and you meet somebody, you ask their requirements, you involve yourself in these activities, and as you go every Saturday there, you become a part of that process.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Let's go back to Srini.
So I hope that clarifies what the difference is.
A few people are waiting to speak. Ramona, can you finish so that we can move on to Meera?
No, I'm done. That's all.
Thank you, Ramona. No, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Cheers.
Great. Thank you. Hi, Chandan. Nice to have you as well. I hope you found this interesting.
Yeah, Srini, I think one of the most interesting topics yet on Clubhouse, and especially in your room as well. Thanks for sharing all the wisdom, Srini. Just wanted to comment on karma, and then dharma, right? Just to make sure everybody is right, at least from my perspective. Srini, people generally, talk about karma and their bad influences, especially in the Western world. ये करेंगे तो खराब हो गया, तो this is karma. According to, again, Vedic astrology and probably Gita, says karma is you do your things and then you expect some results. Akarma is when you do something and then you don't expect anything back. That is the whole point of in this life. When you go from karma to akarma, and then vikarma is something which is against the Vedic. So I just wanted to share that.
No, this is exactly. So this is the whole point where when you are giving something, you should not expect. But since when you're expecting, something here, limit to one. That's the limiting rule where it works. It comes back to the Gita again, which you nicely said. So that is why I'm putting this one thing here. Because I have tried it 2-3 times, 3 things. It never worked. It all backfired. Okay. So then it changed over the years. When I'm saying something with this way, I have tried, tested it, right? And the 5th is the most important thing. That's where I understood the whole astrology to put it there. Okay, so go ahead, Chandan.
Yeah, I think very, very valuable. This has been a very, very informative session. Thank you for sharing all this knowledge. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. What if you're not, like you said that you will get the results if your Mahadasha runs for 1/5 or 9? What if the Mahadasha for these houses don't run until way later, like 2084 or something like that?
That's the whole point, like I believe Rajesh was saying, right?
Yeah.
That means what I'm trying to say again is your past birth 5th is so low in deposit that it is not giving you the result, or it is giving you a delayed result. You see the point? You see because end of that's what I'm saying, right? Just because you have a knowledge doesn't mean that you will execute it and you will get it. No, it is also more than that. The point I'm saying is, but what it will help you is, it will help you build good karma for your next birth. You still do this, all I can tell you is, for your next birth, it will give you good karma. So, if people who knows me well, who have come to all my rooms and everything, look at all the remedies which I always say, right? For marriages, to help people in a relationship, people who are broken up. That is what I say. Those remedies, I can tell you, when you follow this process and everything, it is extremely powerful. If you understand Vedic astrology from a light perspective, first go read the book on what I've said before, Jyotish. Jyotish means divine light, through light. Okay, through light. Now you are imagine somebody on the road, okay, who is a homeless person. That person has lost his light in his life. Literally, he's on the road. He's alive, but no light. Life is there, no light. Now, all of a sudden, you go and do something great for this person. You have thrown light on life on that person. A person who is alive, you have thrown light. What is Jyotish? What is Vedic astrology? It's light. The minute you do that, planet will throw light on you. This is what it is. We all know this, that Newton's third law, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but transfer from one to another. The light goes there, it will come to you again. This is how it works.
Hi, this is Maya. I have this question. So I'm one of those kind where I don't get my 1/5 and 9th until I'm in my 50s. So right now, you said that in Ketu Mahadasha, this technique will not work. So does that mean that in Ketu Mahadasha, everything is like left to the fate? Or what is it exactly?
Okay, so great question, right? Ketu Mahadasha is nothing but, again, this is the same point I'm trying to say. Ketu Mahadasha is nothing but coming from your past birth. So what is Ketu? Everything you've achieved in your past birth, very well, you've mastered it, things, and you want to detach away from it. That time period will never give you materialistic gains through this process. Okay? It won't give you. That is Ketu. That is learning for this birth. Okay? So that is blocked straight away. What is Ketu? Ketu, if you understand Vedic astrology, is a body, doesn't have a head. So you cannot get that. You cannot get it. Right? So that is Ketu. So you would not get it. So you have to wait again. So that is what I'm saying. See, so look at the filtration. I'm not saying for the pride of me saying this out loud here, but I will say that when I got this knowledge, over the years, I tried, tested, I failed. And I'm very open to admit, right? Imagine this way. Even my example, I will tell you. When I've said this several times, this is not the first time. This 360 days, this 365-25, I only learned it at the time when I wanted to know. Remember this. At that time, I thought I had a lot of things in my control. Okay? I knew when is my Rahu Mahadasha going to end. I know when my Jupiter Mahadasha is going to start. When is what going to happen? Everything was perfect. Except what I thought was something was going to happen 7 months later, happened 7 months earlier. That backfired me. Remember, that backfired me. So then it took me a learning that it's 360. So that was the time I learned. But it was a crucial miss for me in my life. I can tell you that. Now again, it was Jupiter Mahadasha which gave me the wisdom. It was not Rahu again. So the wisdom doesn't come in a certain time period again. Now remember that. But it taught me late. I wanted to use for something. Just the same way when Rajesh was saying, I was also wanting to do that. But I couldn't do that. I failed miserably. Nobody taught me. I have to read the book. I have to do it on my own to decode it. Then it took me the learning. Today I'm able to teach you today. But my friend, nobody was there to teach me in 2013. These things. I learned it the hard way.
Can you just quickly explain? I heard you say 365, 25 a bunch of times. Okay. I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Okay. So I'll explain. Good question. Okay. So in our year, how many days are in a year for us? Forget Vedic astrology.
365.
365. We all agree. 365-25, the leap year, right? So what happens is, if somebody says, can you mute everybody? Please mute everybody, yeah? When somebody says you're going to live 100 years, okay? That means you will live 100 years times 365.25. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now in Vedic astrology, if somebody says you're going to live 100 years, which means you will live 100 times 360, not 365.25. So every 1 year, there is a gap of 5 days. So when you are turning 40, there is a gap of 200 days, which is almost 7 months. Okay? So when I calculated 365.25, all the softwares I had those days followed 365.25. And according to me, according to the software, the was supposed to end 2013, right? September 1st. Okay, so I started already planning that way. But in 2013, January, February itself, those results, which I thought was started coming in. I know it's going to come that way because every year 5 days. When you turn 40, 200 days, 7 months before things will happen. You see? So, which means if you're having cosmic insights, Astro Sage, they all follow 365-25. Now, based on your age, you have to do a manual calculation to kind of figure out what is what. Okay? And I think if Scarlett is in the room, I don't know if Scarlett is in the room. I did send a screenshot to Scarlett also today to send it to Cosmic Insights where the 360 is coming from. It's coming from a book also called Surya Siddhanta. Okay, I've sent this. Anybody who wants it, please contact me. I'll give you the book or give you the page screenshot, whichever one you want. You can read it. So does that make sense? Whoever asked, I think Sangeeta or I don't know who else asked.
Yeah.
So that's the inaccurate part. That's the inaccurate part.
Srini, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. So, I have a question related to free will and fate. So, here is a scenario. So, let's say I was supposed to go to temple at 6 o'clock, and my friend changed the plan and he took me to movies instead. So, does it comes under fate or karma?
So, here is the thing, right? See, guys, if I don't want you to apply for all these small examples, right? So the fate, basically, you want to go to the temple, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to go. That was what you had planned, right? Now you remember this way. There is always a saying in Vedic astrology. Just because you want to read astrology doesn't mean astrology should come to you. This is the difference. You reading astrology is different than astrology. You getting to astrology. Yeah. Understand?
Yes.
So same thing, okay? Same thing. Temple, you going to the temple rather than temple calling you is a different thing. You see? So there was possibly a so-called fate, but then the fate also changed later into that extended fate for blocking you. Simple. You see?
Yes.
So let me give you another example. I will give you all the books which I've read. Okay?
Okay.
Does that mean that you can become an expert in astrology? Not really. Again, you see?
Yes.
You see, it takes, that is the fate. So that is where, so here is when the fate comes. Perfect example. So you ask me the question, I'll give an example. So you check my profile. Everybody check my profile. Go to link number 2. Okay? Okay, link number 2. In link number 2, I have put all the books for download, free, 3 pages of books. Okay? Now, just because you read the book doesn't mean you can become an astrologer. Now, where the fate... Okay, who is that?
Hi, if you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute. All right, Srini, go ahead.
Thank you. So, what happens is, I've always said this to people, that if you have to become an astrologer, there are combinations in your chart. I'll explain this for fate and free will, okay? There are combinations in your chart. This is a perfect example, okay? There are combinations in your chart which will showcase you to be an astrologer or not. I have given the combinations for an astrologer several times in Clubhouse, right? So I have given that, number 1. Now, that is fate. Because it's this time, it's there in your chart. To read the chart and tell, okay, you can become an astrologer. That is fate. Now, where is the free will coming in? I will explain the free will now, which is also an induced fate, you can call it again, as we've been calling, right? Induced fate or the free will comes is where even if you're if you don't have those certain combinations, to that all the combinations, right? But you have partial combination, which means, again, as I was telling you, there is the 20% chance, 30% chance. But then you meet a guru. A guru can unlock that for you to get into that next level. Okay?
Yes.
So now you see the difference between fate and free will. Now, the fate I'm going is, if I just purely apply the combinations for somebody to become an astrologer, that person's chart does not have it. He cannot become an astrologer because the combinations are not there. But there is certain combination which shows a glimpse of that. Okay, a glimpse of it. Now, a guru has that ability, right? Guru again means guru, removal of darkness. Again, what does removal of darkness means? That means he's throwing light on you. The minute light comes on you, it opens up. The same way I explained earlier, a person in the road, homeless person, right? Homeless person, that person has life, no light. The minute you go give light to that person, he gets enjoyed. So the universe throws lights on you next. The same way Guru does it for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes, Srini, yes. Understood.
So it's about 9:10 Central Time. We'll have 10 more minutes, and I'm going to close the hand raising also. Yeah, 10 minutes. We are going to shut the room as well, please.
Yeah, Srini, I have one.
Can I ask you?
Sorry.
Let's go one by one. Yeah, please.
Srini, I had a quick question. If someone gets murdered, would you consider that, like, when we see violence like that, is that completely fate?
It is fate, right? It is fate.
Is the fate to be killed and the murder just how it doesn't really matter how it happens, or like, how would you say?
So it is fate, right? The way how your death is all fate written, right? That's how it is. Okay. So usually you can break it down the 6th, 8th, and 12th, and anywhere the murder is happening is Mars and Rahu combination. So you know there are combinations for it. So one can do that way.
Got you.
Okay.
Srini, I have one philosophical / spiritual question, which bothers me as a Vedic astrologer. As karma, as what we have defined, what the life which we get and the dashas which we get are sort of a report card of our previous lives, right? Whatever we have.
So this is a good point. This is a good point. I forgot to miss. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is what we get. So the experiences, basically the soul has to go through a certain journey, and we have reached a certain level. Let's say class 3 out of 10 in our previous lives. So we are born in this life to get experiences who can grow us as a soul to the next level, right? This is how philosophically it is done. So the experiences we are getting, good or bad, right? Cars or no cars, marriages or no marriages, kids or no kids, are supposed to give us experiences to grow, right? If we do remedies, are we denying those experiences for soul to grow, or we should still do those remedies? What are your thoughts?
Great question. So I'll answer two things here, and I kind of touched it, team A, team B, but I'll come back to that again. But I'll first answer your main question. If you read Parashara Hora Shastra, which we've been reading, we'll continue tomorrow in the session as well. We were in page 69. I read it so many times when he started it. It's in the recording also. Parashara clearly says, use this as a guidance. Use Vedic astrology as a guidance to navigate your entire journey of your life. Okay? And only a person who is really understands astrology, blessed with astrology, does a lot of things, respects it. Like I breathe, sleep, eat, other than fashion is astrology. Two things, right? Two things. These are the two things. Fashion and astrology, nothing else. Right eye, left eye, you can think, So people who do that has the ability to guide and use this as a guidance. He clearly says it. Now, why would Parashara even give this knowledge to people if this is not supposed to be used? Why if Parashara has given it and also should say it out loud? You see, Chandan? If that makes sense. I'm a Parashara person, so I'm following Parashara system.
So can I quickly add a couple of thoughts to it?
Yeah, 1 minute. Let me make sure I answer this question and you can add on. Just a minute, yeah?
Yeah, sure, Srini. I think, first question is there. I'm still listening to the second part, please.
Okay. You want to go ahead? I'll wait for the second part, Karthik. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I mean, I was also thinking about what Chandanji was saying here, right? And also going back to what one of the speakers was also saying earlier, which is to manifest something has to come from within, right? A strong will or a desire to manifest something has to come from within, right? So when that comes in, some sort of an action makes it either possible or not possible, right? And in that case, there's only two ways to deal with it. If there is that strong desire, manifest it, finish it, and move forward, right? That's one way to deal with it. The other way to deal with it is to not even have that. In the sense, even if it occurs, if a human being can get to that state where whether or not, if that manifestation happens or not, the human being is in a state of stillness. So at the end of the day, regardless of whichever way you take in life, it is all these experiences in the animation of consciousness to drive a human being to that state of stillness. Right?
Yeah. Go ahead, listening.
So I'm just thinking to the point that you were mentioning, Srini, right? You could use these remedies in that other way to manifest things and move forward and finally get to a point where there is no more to ask.
It will, right? A point will come. That point will come. That maturity will come, right? And also your time period has to be favorable, right? So that's all the things, right? So that's how it is. You are right. It will come. But do understand one thing. We are born here. So two things I probably should have explained it at the start also. You have to understand why Hinduism says rebirth happens. That's one thing maybe I shouldn't say loud. I will say why rebirth happens. Rebirth happens for two reasons, okay? Reason one, your past birth karma. All your karma, right? You have to finish your karma, okay? Number one. Number two is, let's say you finish your past birth karma also, right? But what happens is, after you finish your past birth karma still, if you have obsessions, okay, when before your death, in your past birth, other than your karma, you will still be reborn. Obsessions, desires, okay? For example, I wanted to travel these 7 countries in my world, I could not travel, and then you die. You will be reborn again for that. Okay? Yeah. So the point is, do understand, my friend. So that means that what I'm trying to tell you indirectly is this is the true reason for rebirth. Nothing else other than this. 2 reasons. Okay? After a certain point of your life, 50, 60, 70, whatever you feel is that the age comes, you should stop desiring for anything else more in order to make sure you're not activating your next birth. You see?
I mean, and Srini, I mean, to just throw a little joke around there, right? For someone who goes through a Ketu Mahadasha, especially during their earlier phases of their life, right? They would probably get to a point already there, right? That they even stop desiring about things, I feel. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Hi, Stevie.
Sorry.
Excuse me. I'm gonna cut in really quick.
Right?
Can
Sorry,
you guys
just
start
1 minute.
a line or a queue, because I know that there's a lot of people up on stage. So if you and the moderators could have like a line or queue, everybody can maybe ask just one question.
Great point.
Move on.
Yeah, so let's do that.
Sure.
Tiara, why
Thank you.
don't you go, and then we'll move to Kanak.
But yeah, I'll just finish off this one last thing. The most important thing I've always said, if you remember in all my sessions, probably I didn't say it out today, you have your team B, right? And please acknowledge if I have said this all along. Team A, Team B, which team you're born, which ascendant you're born, which Mahadasa comes, the sequence comes, will define your life. I said it all along. So this again shows this 5th and the 9th, right? Somebody I'll give an example. Somebody who is born, let's say, in Capricorn ascendant, okay? Capricorn ascendant gets the Mahadasas of Ketu, Sun, Moon, Mars. Will have tough challenges. You know, that means that itself shows that the destiny. You see, because look at it. Capricorn ascendant, okay, starts with Ketu Mahadasa, right? And then Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, Jupiter. When are they getting the fifth and the ninth? You tell me, and the first. They're not even getting it. Look at it. That itself shows you cannot do much here. That itself opens it up.
Okay, Srini, maybe let's take questions now and then start wrapping it up. Tiara?
Oh no, I actually don't have any questions. I was just trying to be mindful of the other people that were up on
stage. Thank you. Appreciate that. Kanak, anything?
Yeah, so regarding, you're talking about Ketu Mahadasa, right? Like in Ketu Mahadasa only, we will enlight our birth, like something, Jupiter and Ketu. These are the two Mahadasa only, we will be getting enlightened about our...
Those two are different. Okay. Ketu is past karma, and Jupiter gives you knowledge and wisdom, but Jupiter also gives you a lot of plus things. Jupiter gives the natural karakas 2nd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th. So it gives you other things also. So you can't confuse Jupiter and Ketu. Okay.
All right, Gunjan?
No, I'm good. You can give to others the chance to speak.
Hi, Srini. I have a philosophical question as well. It's regarding karma. I know a lot of things hinge on the past life karma, the good and the bad. But my question is, when we are born, we don't choose where we are born, and the innate capabilities that we are born with, also like the astrological positions of the planets and everything, influence the way we can make decisions in our life as well, and what we are attracted to, and what fate has in line for us. So given all of those conditions, no two people will make the same decision for a particular situation. So, given the different experiences they've had in their life and the type of community they've been brought up in and the education they've been exposed to, their decisions should be vastly different for the same situation. And in such a scenario, what is a universal good or bad karma? Because it's it just gets justified for each person, whatever they do. What do you think?
Great question, right? But just the way you have a house and you have several rooms, right? But after all the house and several rooms, you will only have one safety locker where you would keep all your valuables, right? Your passport, your money, whatever it is, right? Your papers, whatever it is, all those things, right? That's the same way in all your 12 houses. In the 5th house, all the deposits go there. You can have all the things. You can have your furniture in a room, bedroom, etc. But the 5th house contains all those things, right? So that's the whole point I'm trying to say is that thing has to trigger in a way to open it up. Okay? I don't know if I answered your question, but I felt the way I understood this last answer.
Maybe slightly different, because I'm trying to see, even to have a deposit of a bad karma, even if you were to go back to your previous life, you might have made a justified action for all the situations you've had at that point. So not sure where it is getting triggered, where is that decision to make a bad choice coming in?
Okay, because from your point of view, you could be justifying yourself and saying that's the fair one, right? But from a universe point of view, it knows what is right and what is wrong, right? It knows it clearly. And do understand an important thing is Vedic astrology says and Bhagavad Gita says, the fact is it's not only about actions, it's words and thoughts as well. Your words could be as damaging as your action, your thoughts could be as damaging as your action. Okay? Yeah. So all of it is bad karma.
Yeah, no, I think we can go back and forth on this a bit. Okay. But your time is limited, right? So we can continue some other.
We'll cut
Okay, we'll move on.
Marjorie,
Ikra?
you're mute.
Okay, let's move on. Ikra?
Okay, hi guys. So my question is, what if you have a malefic in your 5th house, or your 5th house lord is afflicted? Does that mean you have a harder time manifesting free will, or does that mean that you have a lot of bad past karma? I have Rahu in my 5th house, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Excellent question. So when you have malefic in that house, when you have 5th lord afflicted as well, that means from your past birth, you're bringing very low or lot of negative karma, right? That's different. That's your past. That's your past actions which have defined it. But having said that, if you do the current actions, it will help you to the extent what I said. Because definitely in your past birth, when in the 5th house, 5th lord getting damaged is a challenge. Okay? That's different than what's that action which is going to define what's the future next.
So would that hurt my chances of manifesting my free will?
No. That's what I'm saying. Those are two different things to keep it. What I'm saying is, you don't have much of safety or money or deposit in that 5th house from your previous birth. What you are now doing in the manifestation is, you're putting some good karma into that house. That's all I'm saying, in your current birth. And the result will take time for you to get it, considering that Rahu is there. Yeah, that's the way I would tell you.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Teresa?
Hi, Srini. Sorry I'm late. I was with my family.
No problem. It's a recorded session, so you can still get the recorded version thanks to Krishita. So.
Awesome. Okay, so basically, we have the remedies for my Rahu Dasha, because that's what I'm going through. So I already have those. I did do the donations today, followed everything today, but does it even matter if I do that or not? Because I'm already doing mine for the Rahu Dasha.
No, see, this is the whole thing, right? Whatever you do, does it matter, doesn't matter is a question one should not ask. It's a belief. I've done something good. Walk away with it. The universe knows it. It will reward you very well. Simple. It doesn't matter.
Okay? Thank you. Also, will you
You're
let
welcome.
me know about tomorrow, just so they know what time and everything? I'll post it also, but...
Sure. Thank you. So tomorrow evening, guys, before I forget, thanks for reminding Teresa that 6:30 p.m. Central Time, we are doing a session in Zoom, and a recorded session for Zoom on the video and the book reading, and we may look at some chart also to explain some of the things on the yesterday session we discussed about the eclipses and the things, so we can discuss that. It's 6:30 Central Time. Follow myself, the moderators here, they all the access as well. The whole session will be on for audio only, and the video is on Zoom with the information. Thanks to Ingrid for giving the Zoom line as well.
Okay,
Ingrid, you there, Ingrid?
Yes, I'm there. Thank you so much. I don't have any question. I'm just listening. But thank you so much, Srini, and the moderators. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Neha?
Yeah, hello Srini. I have 2 questions. It's off topic, but firstly, as you said about 5th house plays a really important role in our chart. So if in the 5th house there is a Ketu, what does it depict firstly? Because there was audio problem, so I couldn't hear you. And what are the remedies we can do for that?
So we're talking different things here, right? 5th house Ketu means basically what happens is your past karma, of course what you've not brought in a lot of past karma, and it's also blocking the 5th house, right? Rahu in the 11th would try to give you gains, but Ketu in the 5th will block a lot of things. You would only need to worry if you're undergoing Ketu Mahadasa. If you're not undergoing Ketu Mahadasa, you don't need to worry. Having said that, you can still follow the remedies which I said, which would help you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my second question is, which book should a beginner read for this astrology? Because I am new to this concept. Just through Clubhouse, I'm getting little knowledge, but I want to get deep into it. That's what book should I read right now?
So if you check out my profile, right? In the link, I have given free books to download, and you go in the link and check link number 2, which has got 3 years of books for download. In that, there is a book called BPHS, Parashara Horashastra, and you can read the chapter volume 1, not the volume 2, volume 1. And every Thursday we do book reading in Zoom and Clubhouse as well, so you can join 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay?
Okay, for sure. Thank you, Srini.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Right, Bella?
No, I have no questions. I'm just listening, and I just want to say thank you to Srini and the moderators. Very enlightening session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ritesh?
Yeah, quick question. So, Srini, if you're running your 9th Lord Mahadasha and you're doing the remedies, so will you get instant results? Is that what it means? Or is there a minimum amount in your Mahadasha that's running?
No. In the 9th Lord again, Mahadasha, you would have to run a 1st Lord or a 5th Lord Antardasha to see the results.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Preeti?
Hi, thanks Sangeeta. Hi Srini. I logged in a little late because I'm logging in from India. I may have missed or you may have answered this question earlier, but I just wanted to know, are certain lives born which are inclined more towards everything's gonna happen as per fate, or then there are certain lives where you do experience more of free will playing out in whatever you wish for, it happens. You hear that with some people.
It's a great question. Yes, there is, right? There is because, again, the 5th house deposits, you come with a strong deposit, right? The one way to, how do you check that? Okay, maybe I will give you that rule also, which I didn't say. Overall, 2 rules here. Overall, fate is, I would say, 80%. Okay, and I'm not saying this, the book says it, okay? There is 4 parts, which means 80% of fate. There is 20% of free will, number 1. Now, who has more of this free will tendency, right? Who has more of the free will tendency is, I've explained this before, Team A, Team B, okay? Team A, Team B. If person born in Team A of the Jupiter side and gets the sequence of Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, Jupiter, right? And because he's automatically getting, look at it in his thing, he's automatically getting the 1st Lord, the 5th Lord, and the 9th Lord consecutively. What happens in that case is that person somewhere is a blessed soul. More of free will chances there, provided will continue to do good things in this birth also, right? So that is the way. A person, again, born in Capricorn ascendant, right, in the right hand side, gets the Mahadasas of Sun, or Ketu, Sun, Moon, all the way till Jupiter, has less of free will because he doesn't get the 1st, 5th, and the 9th at all, Mahadasas.
So, sorry, just to interrupt you, you mean if you get Mahadashas which are Lord of your 1st, 5th, and 9th houses, you get more free will, if I understand you right?
Correct, provided you are also a good person in this birth, right? You do a lot of good things around it also. You
okay,
see?
so what was that part you mentioned about Sun, Moon, Mars? I'm sorry, maybe I am not aware of it.
So there are 2 teams. We have discussed this several times before. There are 2 teams, Team A, Team B. Okay, Jupiter is one side captain, Venus is one side captain. So so Jupiter will support Sun, Moon, Mars, Ketu among themselves. They are one team. Venus would support Rahu, Venus, Saturn, Mercury, one side.
Right.
Okay, two different things. One is water, one is oil. Now, what happens is anybody who is born in a Capricorn ascendant in the right hand side. Okay, if that person is born in a, let's say, Ketu Mahadasa, is born Magha Nakshatra, Ketu Mahadasa will come. After Ketu, that person gets Sun. Okay, opposite side. Moon, opposite Mahadasa, opposite side. Mars Mahadasa, opposite side. Rahu, little bit tricky. It will give you both. And then Jupiter. So that person is yet to get the 1st Lord, 5th Lord, 9th Lord until he turns 50 or 60.
Right.
So that person, right, has a challenge to come up because of this sequence. So sequence again.
Right. So this is also, which comes back to the point that it is right. It depends on what ascendant you're born in, and that will define whether your life is led. Of course, being a good person.
That's 80%, right? That's the 80% part. The 20% part, do understand that in some other Mahadasa, it's the fifth Lord Antardasa coming in. So somewhere that fifth Lord Antardasa is the only one who can help you in this whole sequence.
And if the fifth Lord is, like for instance, and if you're born in Ketu Mahadasha, that does not have anything to do with your previous life being, absolving of karmas or things like that. That does not play a role.
No, it does play a role, right? Actually, so after Ketu, you do get Venus. I should not say Venus. I should not start with Ketu. I should start with Sun. So if you're born in Sun Mahadasa, Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, Jupiter. I should not start with Ketu. That's a bad example. So after Ketu, you get Venus Mahadasa 20 years. But then afterwards, it's all gone, So see, if you're born in Ketu Mahadasa, the minute you start, Ketu Mahadasa comes in the very young age at birth. It's not that bad, to be honest. Okay, it's not that bad. But when it comes in a little bit older age, 20 years, 30 years, it's a challenge. Or 10 years later, it's a challenge.
Right. So fifth house is basically will be absolving you of bringing you more into free will. Is that what I understand?
It helps you through the free will process, right? Because you're putting deposit in the past birth thing, karma thing. Correct.
Right. So if I can just request you may have mentioned a remedy which I may have missed. Like my fifth lord, suppose, is Mercury, and it fits with Ketu in the third house. So I don't want to go into this thing right now because this session is a recorded session. What I suggest is we'll be sharing you the link. You can look into it. Okay, where can I see that link? Because I missed that part. Yeah, I would like to hear.
Yeah, so Kushita, you want to share how we are going to share the video link at all?
The audio, right? So what I've done is
audio. Sorry, my mistake. Thank you.
So if you go to my profile, there's a link to a Google form. Unfortunately, you can't click on the links on Clubhouse, so you're going to have to type out the entire URL. It's a short URL. Just enter your name and your email address. And once I get all of these email addresses from people who want the audio, I'll send it. I'll perhaps share it. I'll figure out a way how to share it without using Google Drive or something.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Srini. Really appreciate it.
So that's the reason we're recording it. Yeah, we understand people are dialing in from India and late, so we understand that. Thank you. Thank you, Kushita.
All right, so we have one more. Maya?
Yes. In the previous example, when you were discussing with the other lady, you said Capricorn ascendant. So you're referring to ascendant, and Vimshatari Dasha is based on Moon Nakshatra, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. And also, I just wanted to ask you, Ketu Mahadasha, if it's running currently for me, so if it's running, then what are the kind of remedies, like general remedies, you suggest to achieve what we want to do in this time?
So, which one do you want? For Ketu Mahadasha? See, Ketu Mahadasha is a difficult one. Okay? So, the way you have to be is, few remedies I would say is, one is feed the dogs. Okay? Feed the dogs. And go and spend time in temple. Do watering for temple. Okay? Lord Ganesh, Ganpati is a very good one for Ketu Mahadasha, right? So for Ketu, Tuesday is a very holy day, so you can work on that. Ganesh is a good thing, and don't help with elders, old people, and all those things. Okay, and just wait because Venus Mahadasha will do a lot of help. Ketu Mahadasha is not an easy one, but it gives you a different kind of learning. Once you start Venus Mahadasha, the life will change. Okay. You're welcome. All right. Thank you. And all right. So thanks a lot. I hope this was helpful. And and again, it's all about building good karma. It's all about building, good thoughts, process, and actions and words. And be aware that the universe, knows all the things what we do, right? The universe knows our intentions, our thoughts, our words, action. So there is always somebody smarter than us, right? Not only in the room here in Clubhouse, but even beyond it, right? In outside the universe as well, right? So, and the important point takeaway here is your fifth house, fifth lord is the most important thing, right? So what I'm saying is be cognizant about that in your chart, in your ascendant, right? From your ascendant. Work through those days, work through that, right? And I already see my emails now, and I'm already seeing my offline messages in Telegram. A lot of people asking me questions. Give me some time. I will try to respond to your answer one-on-one in that questions as well, because I think that's the way you're going to unlock your energy. Do understand that you have to wait for certain time to build positive karma for certain things to come in, right? So that's the way how you unlock it. I just want to thank all of you guys for being patient and, going through this for some time, and I really appreciate it, and I hope you take this better, and do come and provide feedback when you have done this, once everything has worked, what I have said, right? That's important because it really gives me a data point to show it worked, right? Apart from the data points I have, which I know has worked. And thanks to Kushita for recording, and thank you for helping on the moderation as well, Kushita. And thank you, Sangeeta, for your help as well. Much appreciated. And tomorrow, last to conclude, we have a session 6:30 Central Time on Zoom and Clubhouse. The book reading at Parashara Horashastra will be continuing from page 69. So thank you, and I hope to see all of you guys tomorrow as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Srini and Sangeeta. I was a bit of a half moderator, sometimes here, sometimes there. So thanks so much for handling. And Srini, as always, a very fascinating, riveting session. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yeah, thank you so very much. I know there's a lot of energy in this room right now, so maybe let's just spend a minute to just calm down in silence, and then we will go ahead and close the room. So let's start now.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you.
Just once again, for people who want the audio recording, there's a link to the Google Forms on my profile, which you'll have to type out in your browser. Please fill out your email address, and once I collect everything, I'll find a way to share the recording with you.
Okay, let's start now, and we'll just be in silence for a minute. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day.